Hey kids, what is up? Today is a special day. Not only are all the banks and schools closed around my place, but we've got a guest, someone that I didn't even think would go on stream. Have you been on stream
No,
before?
I've been on streams before
Which one?
recently,
Which
but
ones have
not
you
with
been
you.
on recently?
I did Adam from Fibra Finance. I did Hex Foodies with Devin.
Oh, yeah, another great one.
I did one a while back with Silvertooth.
Silver, the antidote?
No,
Or
Silvertooth,
how does
the
that
big
spell?
guy. It's just Silvertooth, as in teeth.
Oh, Silvertooth.
Yes.
Silvertooth. I'm going to have to check that one out.
He's really down to earth.
Well, and that was the crazy thing. I saw you on Adam's show, and I was like, this dude has a face. Like this dude, like he's a real dude.
It's not a bot, really?
It's not about, or like someone else, because a lot of people have several accounts.
Yeah.
It's the same
True.
dude, and so you're like, I don't know who this guy is really. So I saw you on there. I was like, dude, what the? And I DM'd you right away.
Yep.
I was like, we got to stream. If you're willing to stream, dude, you got to be on my show. I would love to talk to you.
Yeah. Let's go.
That's awesome. We got Red Squirrel Bot in the house. Hoi hoi pops. We got Hex on air. Oink oink bro. We got Back to Reality Swizzle Sticks. I love that. Aw snap. Let's go. Now and here's the interesting thing. Your profile picture, I tried my hardest to get a tattoo of, what do you call that?
Toroidal field.
Toroidal field.
Yes.
Right, because I kept running into this symbol everywhere I went, not just like in life, but like on journeys and seeking things.
Correct.
So I would experience this insane flow that Nassim Harriman talks about it a lot. Yeah. And it's one of the only things that makes sense in people's theory about science and gravity and
correct
all the things that mostly the quantum stuff. You have to have some sort of a pattern. So anyways, I try my hardest to get my brother-in-law he does my tattoos. He did my Hex tattoo. Perfect. And my other tattoos. I got a tattoo right here from when I left organized religion, right there. It's Yahweh breaking the chains of man.
So, nice that you call it Yahweh. Not a lot of people do.
Well, I didn't know what to call it because like I put it in Hebrew because I didn't even know what else to put it as. Yeah. But anyways, I wanted so this one right here that I got done.
Wow. Cymetics.
Yeah. So this is actually that same toroidal, but this is looking from the top.
Correct.
So you're seeing everything coming from the side and go in or up from the top and reverse. Yep. So we
all those patterns. All these patterns are created by vibration and frequency.
Yeah, the flower of life that you see all over the place. What's the other one that is the same idea? But yeah, it's the vibration that people have seen for
golden ratio.
We've got Hector the Protector. He says 2 tickets to the gun show, baby. You know you got it. You got 2 tickets to the gun show. I usually wear a nice shirt, especially when I have a guest. And I just got done working out and I was making breakfast and my phone's like bing, bing, bing. And I'm like, oh shoot, I'm streaming like now. So I just ran down here and say hi.
Hello.
Hi.
This is Grack. Her screen name is Grack. She's down here raiding my fridge in the studio.
Not Gamma Ray?
No, Gamma Ray's my son. He's the He's the taller dude. But yeah, so we are coming to you live from Cuatro Cinco Studios in my mom's basement. Do you want to say anything to the people?
Hello.
Hello?
Is it me you're looking for?
Someone's in our group. Go ahead and say, hey, Hexicans, stay awesome. And then get out of the studio and shut the door. Okay? Say hi, Hexicans. Bye, Hexicans.
No.
Stay awesome.
I'm standing
No, you go out there. Okay. Take your cherry Coke and leave. I love you. I'll talk to you after this. So we got Jonathan Kampala. What's up, dude? He's my brother, my Texan brother. HOA is super excited to see you. Jawa's in the house.
Legend
is here. Davis, dude, and everyone's showing each other love. Of course, Alan Kissama, he showed up at the very last of our last one. He's made every single tweet. He's amazing.
I love his comments. He cracks me up every time. And like you said, he's almost in everybody's stream, always with the funny jokes, the funny comments. He really cracks me up, man.
He says, take his Coca-Cola, raid the Hex-Ray fridge. Yep. Call a vet. That swan is sick, Hex-Ray. Yeah, I do. I need to call a vet for her. She's just been coughing. So going back into this, I saw you there on there. I've seen you for a really long time in chat and Twitter. Twitter, the dumpster fire that we dance around in a circle.
Exactly. Right? Oh, you muted yourself. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was just asking her to shut the door. Thanks for that reason.
Yeah.
These microphones are great.
Yeah, they pick up everything.
It's a double-edged sword. Because I like sometimes my boy does like D&D in the other room and they're screaming about whatever, I don't know, like what do they call it? Not Journey, Quest they're on. Yeah, we've got like a living room in there, so they'll be playing all their video games and stuff. So
you have an omnidirectional mic then?
Yeah, well, it's set to this, but it's depending on the gain. I almost always have the gain set way down, So, anyways, that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about you. I want to talk about the carnivore diet. I want to talk about flat Earth. I want to talk about Hex, dude. This is a loaded docket. We're gonna talk about Bob Marley. We're gonna put a thread through all of this today for you guys.
Let's go. It's going to be a long one.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Let me throw my ticker along the bottom. No shave till pulse chain, which you just started on, right?
Yep.
You're going to leave this all go until pulse chain?
Yes. My wife wasn't as happy in the beginning, but now she's starting to like it. So it makes me a bit older because everybody is always complaining that I look way younger than I sound. So I thought maybe grow a beard.
Yes. And then I wanted to mention our goal is to help 1 million families. And I'm going to be going to the crypto boot camp in Raleigh, North Carolina at the end of this month with crypto boot camp. This awesome Hexicans in North Carolina that are trying to put together in person, workshops inspired by Crypto Schwabbook and the other people that have been reaching out, and we're trying to crack this code. The code is how do you make onboarding easier, and how do you make it scale without spending 3 hours at your friend's kitchen table? Because that's how we've been doing it, right?
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah, I talked to, I think it was Adam, where we discussed this. I can still remember when in the beginning of crypto, it was really hard to get into crypto. The past few years, it's become really easy to get actually into crypto, just to find out that we got to take security seriously. And now all of a sudden we're back at square one because you got to start with security first and then crypto. And since the security side of it is so difficult and important, even though that the bridge was now made and it was a really easy transition to do because you could literally 2 clicks on your phone, you had crypto. But now we're on the realization that we need non-custodial, cold wallet, security, 2FA, all those kind of things. And all of a sudden it started to get hard again to get people into crypto.
It really is, and it's hard to find something that they can relate it to.
Yeah.
Last night I had a bunch of friends over at the house, and they're still like, "We don't understand crypto. We don't get it because we can't touch it, we can't see it because
Yep.
they like cash. They've got debit cards." And I'm like, "Listen, all money is a story, and all communities are a group of people that share a story." And that would kind of help them. Not really. It might have just made them more confused. But then if you also say a wallet is just an email address, and instead of sending emails, you're sending money. So here's your public key, here's your email address, and here's your private key, your password. And no one can mess with your email without that password or those seed words. And that helps, but it's still there's still so much to walk them through and
I usually say, can you order something online? Yeah, sure, I can order something online. How many things do you need to fill in to order something nowadays online and go through all these steps? Crypto isn't that different. It's just they're so scared of it for some reason because they think the possibility of losing their money is put so out there by the mainstream, even though it's actually really simple. It's not hard at all. But yeah.
But that's the double-edged sword of stories, right? I forget I don't have no idea how to say his name. I want to say Yuval Harari, the guy that wrote *Sapiens*.
Mm-hmm.
And basically said the main difference between human beings and animals is that human beings can share a story. And when you share a story, you can build civilizations. You can accomplish insane things when a group of people subscribes to a story and buys in, right? But then at the same time, people don't understand that stories may not always be real. So I had a story about organized religion that made me feel like, really full of insecurity and guilt and shame because I thought it was real. And people think that the story of money is real. So the idea of actually losing a $10 bill, a $100 bill, it scares the hell out of them. Even though it's a piece of paper and it only has the meaning that they give it.
Yeah, we give it value. And I say that a lot to my friends, and they can't comprehend it even after years of me trying to drill it in them, that it's just a consensus that we all have. An agreed upon piece of paper. They can't grasp it. When I tell them that their paper money is exactly the same thing as our digital money, they can't grasp it.
I gotta share this. This is the inside joke. This is call a vet. These swans are sick. I thought they were talking about my daughter coughing. But it's a kind of silly meme here. I'm gonna pull it up here. This is what happens when you Google somebody call a vet. These swans are sick. Let me pull it up here. Holy crap! This is such, you guys. Everyone, that's what I love about. I learned so many sick, awesome memes.
Memes
from this
are
community.
The best.
Check this out. Somebody call a vet. These swans are sick. Mine aren't even turkeys. Okay, mine are definitely not swans or pythons.
So true. You could say so much in a meme. It's insane. It's so funny.
I love it, and that's the funnest part about Twitter. That's the funnest part about Telegram is people keep popping these awesome, hilarious memes, and it makes the suck bearable, right? It makes all the hate and all the waiting for this and the bear market and the bull market, all the craziness. It's like medicine.
Yeah. Did you froze? Your camera froze, I believe.
Yeah, every time I share my screen, my camera freezes, and I try to make a handsome face before I freeze
in preparation of it. Yeah, perfect.
No, when I was on stream with Kool-Aid yesterday, I was like the most mentally challenged face you can imagine. And I just left it up there because I was like, that's kind of funny. It's meant to be. If that happened, something in the universe wants that to happen. So we're gonna do
what up,
it.
Samantha?
Samantha's in the house.
Oh yeah.
Swizzle Six wants me to yell, "Mom, bring the meatloaf." And Adam, dude, Adam. Speaking of Adam, how to tell Lindsay the kids are going. The dog is sick. Got to go to the vet. I'm watching the stream in the parking lot. That's awesome.
Perfect.
And Adam's one of the people that we're trying to bring into that onboarding scale. Like we gotta really bring whatever works together and use it. I think
Adam is my brother from another mother.
Yeah,
He's actually the person I know the longest within this space, even before Hex.
David says, "What's up with the BTC fake pump?" I don't know, man. I've been watching everything pump, and yeah, it's fun to watch your staker app go up and stuff. But I don't trust this at all.
Really?
I don't trust this pump at all.
Oh, I got a really nice theory about it.
Share it, please.
Because when everybody talks about a bull trap, when everybody talks about we still haven't seen max pain, when everybody talks about we still need to see 11K, the market usually does something else. But I already saw another pattern. So every cycle that Bitcoin did, it retraced 10% less year over year. So the first cycle, it had a 90+% correction. The second cycle, it was an 80+ correction. And this cycle is a 70+ correction. We also didn't see the blow off top that we normally see. So you could expect that the fall down could be less deep as well. And when everybody is sitting on the sideline with a lot of capital waiting for a moment, they are in the safe spot. And everybody that hodled had max pain. How do you create max pain for the ones that actually did not hodl, take all the profits, and are sitting on the sideline? Let the market run away. Market makers aren't born yesterday. And if they want to trap the people that are actually on the sidelines waiting to get in, they will create this pump. Everybody thinks, okay, we're going to wait for a correction that doesn't come. Then the next pop comes, and now they have to spend 3 times more to get their crypto. Max pain, both ways.
Well, and the other thing that you notice if you go to that's a really brilliant. I'm taking notes. If you don't know, I am taking notes. Silvertooth. I like the analogy of the online order, and then 10% less, and then we also see the growth shortening every time too, and the 4-year cycle will get a little bit longer.
Yeah, even that we had the theory about lengthening cycles, and then we had to find out, no, it's not lengthening cycles. We still have the 4-year cycle. Well, if that still holds true, we already should be out of the bear market going off of history with some slight deviations here and there. And you always say, in hindsight, we should have seen this coming. I mean, how much pain have we already endured? We had Celsius, we had Luna, we had FTX. Probably Nexo is going to be next. How much pain do we need to endure before we get some upside? And usually in hindsight, what you always say, yeah, we should have seen this coming. It was so obvious that this was the bottom. But it takes time. And the market is always in front of the news. The news is never in front of the market. It's always the other way around. So first the market will go up, and soon, probably in my opinion, the news will follow and everybody will flip the narrative and say, yeah, we are there. And then before you know it, everybody's boombaya and
yeah, well, and that makes a lot of sense. I hadn't noticed that pattern of it getting less of a dip. The one pattern that I always keep my eyes on is right as we head up the bull ramp, up the bull market, there's that death wick down. Like every time the exchanges, and especially if you're doing trading, they margin everyone out in this red death wick that goes all the way down to the bottom of the market. Like it's a scary ass wick.
Right, and it's usually created by leverage. Also something that is now not so mainstream anymore. People are seeing that leverage doesn't work, trading doesn't work, hodling works. So we got to also accept that the narrative is slowly changing within crypto, and we could see the ramification of it already. We just don't acknowledge it yet because it's still so new for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm keeping an eye on for that wick. Because that after the
Yeah,
wick, we go right up. Like there,
exactly.
it's just like a half pipe at a skateboard
Yeah.
park.
And we could see a big correction, but I truly believe that the bottom probably is in. We could wick down, but I don't think it's going to make a new lower low. Maybe, but it's
Well, there's a couple of things that I'm waiting to see what they do. Like first
yeah,
of all, you have the Mt. Gox coins,
true.
which who knows if they'll ever see the light of day at this point,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. They
But
keep
if they
postponing
do,
it. Yeah.
that could dip the price of crypto, and then you have the layoff. So everyone that every big company in America right now is saying we're basically going to lay off everybody we can for the
Yeah.
next 2 quarters, and I don't know how that's going to affect the stock market or crypto, but it's definitely not good with the interest rate as high as it is.
The market is getting more mature by the day. At least that's how I experience it since 2016 when I came in.
Mhm.
So we already saw it when, as soon as the Fed said, you know what, we're not going to do 75, we're going to do 50.
Mhm.
The market already prepared for that move. Now it's most likely going to be 25. The market already calculated that in. Even if the market would now say, or the Fed would say, you know what, we keep it steady at 25. I think that is a, a low enough amount for the market to accept and ignore. Because if we're level, when everybody knows what we're up to, it's the uncertainty that usually causes all the volatility. But as soon as we know, okay, from here on out, we might see a 25 and it might stabilize for X amount of months and then probably go down, or maybe even sooner. As soon as a market has an idea of what is going on, confidence will come back. And I think now that we know what the future will look like, the market will calculate it in, build on confidence, and market makers are probably trying to wreck everybody.
That's what they do.
Exactly.
It's a casino where
Yeah.
the casino is playing against you at the tables.
Yep.
And they see all of your cards, and
Yep.
they know the whole system. So that not only can they not lose because they make their money on volume,
Mhm.
but they are also taking the opposite side of the bet and taking your money that way too.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is.
Alan Fitzsimmons says, facing reality, thank you, sir. That's what happens when you're safe for 15 years. You got to make sure ain't no one misbehaving. LOL.
So true. We have a lot of fun in this community. I've been hearing about some fun lately, but I didn't experience any of it. So for me, everything is Gucci.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, hey, I see you, but waited till you're quiet again. And of course, Samantha,
Yeah.
she's awesome. She's in the house, and a lot of love here. Did I miss anything? I wanted to give a shout out to Suzanne Arts because as soon as you popped on, I saw
Yep.
that. Talk about the swans being sick. That is a sick,
It is.
sick hoodie. And yeah, people give each other love here. Let me pull this up. I'm going to try to do a not dorky face here, and I'm going to share this because she deserves. It's too late. I already froze. So. You guys can see my dental work.
Yeah.
This is Suzanne's site. If you guys want some insane jackets, hoodies, t-shirts, go here to
Got that one as well.
Suzanne's.art, and then you put in your country, and yeah, it's incredible the stuff that she's come up with. I got Hex-Ray Vision specifically made, but the color is so crazy that I can't order a bunch of them and sell them. So I might go with a black or a silver.
Yeah.
and offer those. But this huge shout out to our sister and good friend,
Heck yeah.
Suzanne. She's killing it, and really appreciate what she brings to the community with her
The
style.
picture doesn't even do it justice. It
No.
looks amazing on picture, but it looks immaculate in real life. It's insane.
Yeah, when you get it in the mail
It's
and it's got the
the
paper
way it's
on it.
wrapped.
And what number do you have there?
I believe this one was 18. I got
18.
the number 14 Texan, and I believe I have the number 20 in hex.
You got the 14 Texan?
Yep.
Sick. All right, now you got me like thinking I'm gonna have to do some
I'm
more digging
collecting
after
this
this.
shit. It's freaking amazing.
It's a physical NFT, man.
Yeah.
Like there's only so
literally.
many that she's gonna run, and
Yep.
it's numbered, so it's
Exactly.
beautiful, beautiful. Adam
Like
says
it a
agreed.
lot.
This is the run to 30K will be a bull trap. Right now, everyone is underexposed and is missing out. When the FOMO at near 30 will slam back down to 16, is what he's guessing. And that's the thing,
Yep.
though. Like you said, if people all believe that we have hit the bottom, we're going to see a crazy run. And
Yep.
the second everyone chases it, like you said on the 3X, the second everyone dumps their money in, boom, right
Mhm.
back down. Like whatever we're chasing, they're just going to yank the ball the other way.
Yep.
So if you are FOMOing right now, you should be. I mean, I've started doing some DCA myself a little bit, not a lot, because I think it's going to get really volatile this year.
Mhm.
But if don't FOMO, guys,
No.
do not FOMO, because as soon as you FOMO, it's going to go the opposite direction.
Yep.
It always does. He says the bull trap will be when people pile in at 27 to 8K, thinking we're going past 30. Most people are on the sidelines watching right now. So yeah, just like you said, they're playing us. And then at the same time, we never know when the one token, one plus, was it the plus token or the one token?
Yeah, in 2019, yeah.
Yeah, it did that crazy run from
Insane.
$3,000 to 13 and then crashed, and no one even knew what the hell was going on.
Nope.
It was insane. And so you've got to be okay wherever the market goes. You got to have a plan for buying it. You got to have a plan for selling it, because if you would have sat there and just took a little bit of profit on that pump of the plus one token, and then it went down and you bought it with free money, and you had, because if you have a formula, we got to do this someday. We got to do a video of my formula, because I got a formula where I'm buying and selling certain amounts at certain prices, and buying coins with free money or profit taken money, that powder is the best feeling in the world. It's like playing with house money. I absolutely love it.
I learned a lot in the past cycle, for sure. You never stop learning in this.
I want all NFTs to zero. Well, Danny, you definitely got to check out my video with Proof of No Work, Dev, and he talks about the good, the bad, and the ugly about NFTs. NFTs are actually very, very useful and have a place in crypto. And unfortunately, right now, Richard Hart's worldview on NFTs is 2 years old. So eventually, Richard Hart will update his worldview on NFTs. But he's not selling NFTs, so there's no reason for him to worry about educating us on NFTs, right? But you have the HSI NFT. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think it's just because it's used the wrong way. He associates an NFT with a JPEG. What in majority is, but it can also be used for a lot of other things, even though it's not being used that way yet.
Yeah. Well, we've got the HSI stakes.
Exactly.
Beautiful use of an NFT. Beautiful. And I don't think that the Maximus DAO token is an NFT necessarily. I think it's just pegged to a smart contract.
Yeah.
But either way, you can actually have a real secure, even if you like JPEGs, even if that's your weird like degen, you can actually own the NFT and know that it's not going to get messed up in the future. So you can actually use IPFS and a bunch of other things we talk about there and have a more secure NFT if you want that. Viber says, just got my Zen. It's day 100. Here comes 1000X. You know what? I looked at my Zen that I paid way too much gas for, and it's worth like, I think I'll make $3 after paying fees. And I wasn't like, these are like the first ones I got in where I FOMO'd in and try to get something with good standing. So it's just, I don't know. I'm just watching from the sideline. It's crazy. David says Deathwix fills everyone's orders. Keep that in mind. Once all orders are filled, we need new orders and less sellers. That's
Correct.
a really, really good point, Davis, because I've been also pushing cow swap to everybody. Cow swap, you don't need Ethereum to get your stuff done. Your orders actually fill, unlike Matcha and 1inch, because Matcha and 1inch are going to make sure they get their fees before you get your order filled. So even if the price goes past your order, unless it covers all their fees and the market's fees, people are freaking out because they're like, hey, what the hell? And you don't pay a fee to set up your order and take your order down. It's totally free. So cow swap doesn't do the front running and bullshit that Uniswap does on you guys. So cow swap, boys and girls. Yeah, Hex Siren is in the house. Yay, hello gents, girl. Good people. Samantha, like, share, subscribe. Definitely do all those good things. Davis, look at the overall number of longs versus shorts. The market will move opposite to the greater side. Like we were talking, there's more money in liquidation than filling limit orders.
Correct.
So yeah, I agree with Adam, but then like you said, the market always does that crazy stuff that you don't. It's going to hit more higher and lower than you think. Well, throw those orders in with money that you can afford to DCA in, and wait, because I've seen some crazy stuff in Bitcoin over the years. I've been in Bitcoin where I'm like, oh, it'll never come back to this price. Oh, it'll never do that.
Yep.
And boom, there's so many second chances in crypto. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But what do we see in all the tops and all the bottoms? The opposite of what everybody thinks.
Yes. Yeah, because it's a pendulum swinging.
Yeah.
And there's, like you said, there's more money taking advantage of people than serving people right now.
Yep.
Yeah, there's more money in crypto screwing people than in serving people.
Yeah.
That's it. And that explains a lot. We got some love. It's something that you rarely see in crypto, actual females. So that's awesome. Thank you for being here, Samantha and Siren.
We got the best females in crypto. Yeah. Golly.
So Hex was set up so that you could serve yourself, because Richard Hart and Trayvon James, like Trayvon James is just the other side of the coin to Richard Hart. They both see the reality of crypto for what it is right now. And one says, hey, this is how to protect yourself. And the other guy says, hey, this is how to like jack other people.
Wreck yourself.
Yeah, this is how to wreck yourself or try to wreck others. But they both see the reality of crypto right now.
True.
And so,
and what Trayvon did with attaching a rock to an NFT, that's actually smart.
Yeah, that's it. So when Richard Hart does the NFT for the world's biggest diamond, that's when you're going to learn, okay, these are the rules of Richard Hart when it comes to NFTs. This is how to actually make it trustless and secure. Danny Boy, her gear is top notch. Yeah, Suzanne's amazing. Fibra, if Suzanne only took Luna as payment, I'd be her biggest customer. Chris Davis. I don't trust her order books. I was pointing out that one major death wick that rebounds could be eating up most limit orders. True.
Correct.
Suzanne's amazingly talented and wonderful person. I don't want Hex more than merch, unfortunately. Yeah, you are spending some good money on this merch. And if you're in a place where you need to be stacking Hex, then you're better off waiting during the bull run to buy a bunch of the merch. So
I just want it to be part of history.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it, literally. This is literally a part of history. It's not now, but 10 years from now, this is going to be something else.
We got Hexicat in the house. What's up, Hexicat? And Samantha says, just live my best life. Thought of you at the gym today. Looking forward to this challenge coming up. Yes, definitely. Hodlers win, period. Yep. Founders and hodlers. And very few people want to be founders, and half the founders don't make it. So hodler is literally the easiest way to make mad games. We'll do Hex-Ray.
Also lose a lot of money.
Yeah, and lose you can lose a lot of money. if you don't have but it's about time frame, right?
Yeah, but it's only when you need it. If you don't need it, you don't bother about losing the money because by the time that you need it, it's back up at new numbers. But
Yeah.
if you need it, then it's a big loss. Yeah.
A lot of people learned that lesson with the sacrifices for Pulse and Pulse X.
Yep.
They heard 60 days and they put
Mm-hmm.
their rent money, they put their food money, they put their card payment money,
Mm-hmm.
and all their fun money into the sack. And they're desperate for Hex to come out, and they're desperate to dump, which is
Yep.
great news for us.
Exactly.
If you got that powder, you can be
Mhm.
getting all this stuff on price on sale.
Can't wait.
I'm easy. Just was a bottom indicator I wanted. Okay, that's great. I've been logging my workouts. Great job getting the gym. That's half the battle. It really is. Starting anything is the battle, right?
Yeah. I love her post every day. Always
Davis,
bringing the happiness and the energy. Yeah, I love that shit.
yeah. Davis says, I bought a board. I'll take a board A at 99% sale. Max pain for everyone. No pleb left behind. We got love here. I'm trying to catch up with too many Christmas. There's too many. You're too popular of a guest. Facing
I'm
reality.
starting blushing.
Cow swap. How do you guys feel about this spring and summer pump due to money printers and then a fall or winter capitulation down to 11K BTC?
That is a possibility,
It's a possibility,
but
but
I don't highly unlikely in my opinion. But
there's two things that I think are going to really affect the timing of the market, the next bull run. One's the halving of Bitcoin, which is the end of 23, beginning of 24. And the other thing is the presidential election, because up to this point in U.S. history, the government has tried to convince you that everything's great financially right before the elections.
so true.
So like the Federal Reserve's like, we'll do what we want. We're going to raise them until your homies in Washington are like, yeah, like we need people to buy houses and cars and go out to the movies and go out and eat and feel like and get that dopamine, so they don't think about actually voting and what's the word?
That's also that's also a reason why I think the market is going to do differently than people think.
Mm-hmm.
Because the longer we are, let's say, in the rabbit hole, the more you start to learn about their agenda and what they want to achieve, and the horror that people want to bring upon themselves about the possibilities of the future and how bad it could be, is something that does not go along or align with the plans that they have for the future. Probably after 2030, 2035, we could see some, because they have a roadmap and I need to finish that roadmap first.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that you can't really talk about, unfortunately.
Yeah. Government wants you to believe in government, but they do not want you to try and participate. They don't really want you to vote. They just want you to believe in fear and hope and fight against your neighbor, against red team versus blue team. And so that they do that by manipulating the economy mostly. So we've been going for 38 minutes. We've covered
already.
Covered
it's gonna
nothing.
Be a long day.
We've covered nothing on our list. Like nothing. I'm looking at my list going, this is it. I
got all the time in the world.
Yeah, and I'm so honored that everyone would show up here and take time out of their day to hang out with us and listen to us, and you guys bring so much in comments that I definitely want to get to as many of these as we can. But let's go into what people love to listen to. I want to hear. Well, first of all, let's cover your carnivore diet and how you came about that and what you're hoping to get out of that.
Yeah.
And then go into your origin story about Hex and your origin story about flat Earth.
Perfect. Well, the carnivore diet started today, literally. And I was playing with it for a really long time. And I didn't want to let go of the whole veggies. The Dutch diet is already based off of meat and veggies, and usually a lot of meat. So we already ate a lot of meat. And since we come from a farmer from a farmer country. I thought it's something that is so deep within your roots that it's hard to let go. But at some point, I just could not negate the facts anymore. And then since the latest stream that Brandon did with uh, the rock guy, I said, yeah, it's about time I started to really go into it, because physically, from a scientific point of view, we're supposed to be eating meat, and that is something I already for 90% figured out, but it was still kept back by all the information that I could find about the medicinal properties of veggies and plants and roots and seeds and all those kind of things. So I always thought it would be necessary to be in your diet. But when I started looking or thinking logically about it, if you take something, let's say it's a medicine because you have something, you don't take it every day. You only take it when you need it. So it made no sense. You don't take aspirin every day because you have a headache once in a month. And I think veggies is probably the same thing. And yes, our body was not made to digest veggies.
Right. And well, and a lot of plants have evolved to protect themselves from grazing animals, from omnivores, and
Hmm.
veg, veg, vegetarian animals. What
Hmm.
am I trying to say? Omnivores, carnivores, and herbivores. That's what they call them.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
not- So the herbivores. So there are a lot of plants that have developed toxins,
Yep.
right? And so and you were saying that that was Brandon Rags to Riches.
Yes.
And who was that stream with?
With what was his name? Joe? Was Joe? Jack? I can't remember.
Oh, is it Scott Foster Harris?
Yes,
The
that
man, the
one.
myth. Okay, that one popped up, and I was like, "What the hell is this guy?"
a, a really, really good stream. That one really got me over the edge. I already knew that because what I learned in that stream was the acidity level of your stomach. I never realized, I knew it, but I never processed it at that way. I already knew we have stereo vision, we are athletic, we are explosive. All these traits is something that you need for hunting,
Mhm.
not for
And
scavenging.
a lot of people
So,
talk about our teeth too, the
yeah,
shape of our teeth.
yep. Well, that could probably go both ways because we have molars to really grind things down. So you
Hmm.
could be veggie like,
Hmm.
but we also have canines, even though they're not as prevalent anymore as we used to have, because
Hmm.
that is also something that I found in our history that our canines used to be way bigger than they are now.
Yeah, yeah. So it seems like maybe we were kind of made to be able to eat just about anything we could get our hands on,
Yeah.
from fruit to meat to grains. But then again, if you look at the grains that people ate for thousands of years, they are not the grains that we have now. That's not the corn, the rice,
Hmm.
or the wheat that we have now. We've genetically engineered all this stuff, and then
Yep.
after we genetically engineer it, we mix it with a ton of chemicals, take out anything living inside of it, make it shelf stable and addictive as hell. And
Yeah.
that's what you find in the store. It's just super addictive
Yep.
processed carbs and starches that make you feel like shit for the most
Yep.
part and eat away your teeth. And
Exactly.
and how long have you been doing practicing the carnivore now? You just starting
One
it
day, today, literally today.
today. This is the start.
This is the
Wow.
start.
And so what are you hoping this eliminates from your body or from your life?
Mm, I want to believe I already was really healthy. The only unhealthy thing I do is smoke. For the rest, everything surrounding our life is pretty healthy already. So I didn't see it as a health benefit, but I do see it as a way to be more energetic and the stories that they told about your muscle gaining without doing anything, having a clearer mind. I heard a lot of people talking about their eyesight improving, uh, joint troubles with joints and those kind of things tend to go away. And this wasn't a one-sided incident that I heard it of. I heard this all over again every time, and then I thought, yeah, I just have a go with it and see what happens. And then Brandon said, yeah, just try for a month, eat meat only, and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I'm go back to my herbivore.
Yeah, yeah, you can always go back to what you were
Yeah,
doing before if it doesn't
exactly.
work. I love that. I love that. Now,
If you don't find it out, you will never know. Be going off somebody else's story is not the way to go.
hmm hmm now, how did you get into crypto and hex? What's
I
your
got
origin
into
story there?
crypto through mining. I was really technical. I always had a technical job. I loved computers, loved building my own computers. Then I found a video on the internet about mining crypto. This was during the 2017 bull run or 2016. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. And I didn't even care about the crypto itself. It was just the equipment and setting it all up and doing calculations with it. For some reason, it triggered me or it interested me. And that's how I started into crypto. Then mined a shit ton of coins, altcoin here, altcoin there. Most of them didn't even survive the last bull run, and they all went to zero. But yet again, I made a lot of money. Thought it was like most of us, brilliant, and had no idea about the cycles. Had no idea about how crypto in general worked. I didn't look at charts. It was something I wasn't into at all. And then within 3 weeks, I was pretty much poor again. I thought, "Well, that's strange. How does that work?" And then I left crypto for about 2 years, I think. And then after COVID, when we had that insane drop, I said to my wife, yeah, now's the time to get back into crypto. But back then, our finances were not at place yet, so I couldn't really do anything. And as soon as our finance were more in order, I started going into crypto again, then ending up on YouTube. And there is where I actually met Adam. And Adam is actually the one that got me into hacks. And in the beginning, I was one of the guys that thought it was a scam. Of course, I went to the website, I read it all through. It didn't appeal to me at all. And he was talking about, yeah, there's an event coming. It's called Big Payday, and it's I don't know, 6 weeks from now. And if you stake it, you'll get so much in return, and depending on how long you stake. And I said, dude, how often have you heard this before? You give me one, I give you two, and that shit never works. I said, I'm sorry, mate. And he kept on pushing, and there was another guy in the space. He said exactly the same thing. Take a gamble. Every coin will do something. And so we bought a little bit, but I couldn't get myself into staking. And then prior to the big payday, Hex did what it did. It did this insane run. And everybody in the Discord was euphoric. And all of a sudden, everybody was a genius, of course. And I was there sitting there like the dumbass that didn't trust anything. And then within what days, it dropped 95%. And then I was the king of the hill again. And they were all the dumb guys. And then within, I don't know, maybe a week, 3 weeks, Hex completely recovered. And that was the moment that I thought, yeah, here is something. If you can run up so much, correct 95%, and then go back again to the same level within weeks, there's something here. And then you really get into the community and you start learning everybody. and learning T-shares, because even though the concept of staking was there, I had
Mhm.
no idea what the fuck a T-share should be or what it would be or how.
Do you remember the moment the light bulb turned on with what a
Yes.
t-shirt was and how it went, how it worked?
Um, it, the majority was from Richard, but it was more on a surface level. And at that point, I wasn't really convinced yet. So I saw it as something for my children. I thought, you know what? I just gamble. You have a way to set it away for 15 years. I got two young kids. This is perfect. Just put it away and we'll see.
Like a
And then,
401k,
yeah,
or
exactly.
something like a bond or something clear out
Yeah.
in the future.
So I did, I think, the majority of my stakes on January 1st, 2021. And everybody was talking, yeah, you got to be at least 2 years in crypto. So I started planning from there, started planning birthdays, starting planning stakes for my children far away. Yeah, and
Mhm.
the rest is history. So where Hex was something that was actually meant as a gamble and a Hail Mary for my kids, turned out to be, yeah, way more, and quickly turned in my biggest position. And then, even then, the FOMO started for me as well, but that was at 14 cents, 17 cents. And I transferred all my other crypto and I said, oh, T-shares, here we go. I was sold. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
it's
Pulse Chain, golly.
insane. It's insane how the t-shirts close the loop
Yep,
and pull everything in the ecosystem up with it.
correct.
And, sorry, and then
Took a
you're
while,
saying
yeah.
you heard about pulsing, because obviously during this time you're also seeing the Ethereum fees go from 10
Insane.
cents, 20 cents. I remember getting furious when they went over 10 cents. I was like, this is
Yep.
stupid. I can't believe this. And then I didn't know what I was in for a ride, because it was hundreds of dollars to do
Yeah, it's
swaps
insane.
during the
Yeah,
bull, hundreds of
it
dollars
was
to do
insane.
swaps. And so that then obviously Richard's like, we gotta do our own layer two. This is bullshit.
Mhm. Pulse Chain was a savior
Layer
and
one.
a
Sorry, layer one.
nuisance. Yeah,
I said layer
because
two.
I was lucky enough to have some stakes come out at prior to, let's say, it was at 30 cents before we got to 51 cents, and I was still holding it liquid. And I had a stake coming in, I believe, in March. So as soon as the sacrifice phase came, I was lucky to have some liquid. Otherwise, I couldn't done anything. But yet again, I couldn't take profit either. So all my profits that I was attending to do or to take all went into Pulse Chain and Pulse X. So even
Yeah.
though it's a lucky now, it's an emotional ride, because in the beginning you're still euphoric.
Yeah.
And then when everything drops, you're actually mad. You think, I should have taken that profit. But
Uh-huh.
now it's done. Now you're glad you did the sacrifice for Pulse Chain, and you actually regret not doing more. It's
Yeah,
funny how
because
that works.
if the sacrifice is still open right now,
Oh
our
my god.
hex and other coins would be worth, 5% of what they were. So
Yeah.
that sacrifice at the top of the market is going to make a huge difference in a lot of people's lives, I believe.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Now, so and obviously, what are you most excited about with hex? I mean, obviously, pulse chain is what we're all waiting for.
Hmm.
Is there any other crazy stuff? You mentioned Texan. I'm a huge Texan
Yes.
fan.
Huge
Um,
Texan fan.
yeah, a huge Texan fan. I'm a huge What's a fan,
Yep.
because I put some. I did a mint of my Hadron when that
Mhm.
was going down, and I put 1/3 into What's and I put 2/3 into staking Icosa, and the What's has beaten the 2/3 by 2.
Really
Yeah, so the What's
mm.
has blown the Icosa stake out of the water.
Funny.
So
I didn't get into the WhatsApp. I wanted to do it at the last moment because Adam again
Mhm.
warned me, do it, do it. And at the last moment, I did it, and my transaction didn't go through for some reason. So I thought, I'll leave it. I'm not really into the NFTs anyway, and I
yeah,
already have my Echoes and my Hedron, and everything is staked. I thought, I'm fine. But
Yeah.
in hindsight,
Well,
yeah,
when I've got 200 days till my ICOSA's done, because I was locked up
yeah,
for 360, and I'm never gonna stake ICOSA or Hedron again, ever. I'm gonna
yeah,
spend all of that money on either T shares or Whatsas, because that's the secret sauce, right? That's the
yeah.
that's the king of those mechanics, in my
Yeah, I'm
opinion.
curious on what all is gonna happen on Pulse Chain and Pulse X.
Mhm.
I don't wanna immediately put everything in T shares because if I do T shares now, it's already for far in the future because I already have my ladder set up for the next 4 or 5 years. So it would be far away. I'd rather have something on the sides to play on Pulse X in the future because there's so much
Mhm.
coming, all the staking mechanisms, the new projects coming out, being able to get in a lot of projects on an amazing new chain day one. Could you imagine now going back when ETH came out and you were able to get in all those projects day one? Oh my God.
And not to mention ETH on day one,
Exactly.
because I mean it crashed down to like 15 cents after it
hmm
launched. But I
Uh,
mean, 15 cents to like $4,000 is pretty good. I mean, the VCs got it in at 3 cents,
yeah.
give or take, and then
Yep.
it launched around $3.
I
So
believe it went to 33 cents or something as a low, if I'm
yeah,
not mistaken.
it went down pretty low.
Yeah, it's
If
insane.
so, even if you bought it at 10 times the VC rate,
True.
you're doing amazing. So
Oh,
if you
yeah.
take, what I like to do is I have people take their sacrifice that they put in for Pulse
hmm
and do half the math that Ethereum did.
Yeah. That's mind boggling. It's
There's a lot
insane.
of commons in that. Like
Oh, I
even
know.
people that dropped $1,000 in the sack, if you run that, you're like,
Yeah,
oh, that number can't be real.
correct.
But that's just a couple cycles away.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
The
very
past
possibly.
bull, yeah. Even if you go with your current, even when you're small in Hex, if you would go to stake Hex today and play with that slide, just being
Yes.
ultra conservative and
Mhm.
look at what your balance is in 15 years, or possibly it's mind boggling. These
Mind-boggling.
numbers makes no sense.
No,
Like literally no sense.
totally. I'm gonna shotgun chat as fast as I can, because
Yes.
I want to be caught up, because when we go into your origin story of finding and investigating flat Earth, then
Oh yeah,
that's when the chat's gonna get crazy.
for sure.
Vibrant Adam says Hex is the only non-all male community by huge ratios. Yeah, and shout out to
Correct.
Lindsay. Lindsay is one of the coolest female Hexicans we've got.
Lindsay is amazing.
Mhm. Financial NFTs of the future. Bull Run Baby. Brissology. What's up,
What up,
y'all?
Briz?
Yeah, Briz is
Torin, my brother.
Torrens in the house. What's
Yeah.
up, Torrin? A lot of love there. Love, love. Hey, hey, hey. Briz is in the house. Davis says financial NFTs are the future of blockchain, stock market, complete correlation, inevitability. That's a quote by Larry Fink. LOL, you got the wrong Briz. I'm here to drag the combo to ape level. What a dream! Great ratio, Pulse to Pulse X. I definitely overinvested into Pulse, says Red Squirrel. Luckily, my wife stopped me from remortgaging the house. Siren's giving Taron some love. Alan Fitzman says, I did not, I did that for Pulsex. LOL, got my Pulsac, but not as heavy I wanted to. That ecosystem will produce enough yield to fill our bags with Hex and Pulse. My
Sure.
my wife wanted me to, we'd taken some profits. She wanted me to pay off our house. And I didn't. I sacrificed for Pulse. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, honey, if this does half of what I think it can do,
Mm-hmm.
this will pay off 20 houses. So,
Yep.
we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
Alan, a lot of love from Alan Davis. Yes, sir. Board ape and stockbroker JPEGs don't count. Yeah, that's okay. I have all day, says Samantha. Let's talk
Nice.
about Antarctica. See, I told you it's gonna get crazy. Never mind, I'm out.
Oh, that's the
Hexacast.
carnivore, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, Hexcast is 2 out of 3. Ain't bad. Fiber Finance over the ice wall. Brisality. Yeah, I think you're right. Just took me 10 minutes to reply to you. I'm slowing down already. The Brisality effect. Sword Squirrel says nice plasma reflection behind
Exactly.
FR.
Yep.
And then Moondog is in the house. Love and light to all. What's up, Moondog? It's good to see you, man. T-share T-share like a carnivore. Finbear, what's up, Finbear?
This
Good to
guy.
see you. This guy.
Love him, but
Scott Harris. I'm not sure who Scott Harris is. Shout out to Scott Harris from Adam. Finn guy. Alan guy. I completely disagree. I'm not sure what she disagrees to because we are
I think
shotgunning
it
this.
was about the digestive of the veggies, and
Yeah, it might be.
I'm just testing it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on this for 2 years, so I've been patient.
Oh yeah, they're referring to the same link that I put in here.
Oh yeah.
Scott
It's
Harris.
really good.
Yeah,
Video.
and there's the link to that interview with Rags. Check that out. It was a great interview with Scott.
Yep.
If it's a yep, I explode twice a day. Red Squirrel, LOL. Omnivores. Thank you. See, this is why
Omnivores.
if I kept up with chat, they would finish my broken sentences.
Exactly.
My Life is Awesome had a stream yesterday where they talked about getting the lectins out of the veggies and fruit so they're better for you. That's interesting. I'll have to check
That's
that
interesting.
out. I've been forcing myself to eat fruits and vegetables because I was just eating crap. Just just comfort food and carbs. And now I'm trying to eat real food and mostly meat. And so that would be really interesting. I'll check that one out. The modern omnivore eats a takeaway. Like the US dollar grains causing inflation. Yeah, Vets in the house. Bang, bang. What's up, Vets? This portion of the stream will be used in future history classes. Okay, class, this is a form of the era where humans ate other mammals. Now eat your dried cricket steaks. Adam says, facing reality, quit rollerblading day one of this new diet. I just bought some rollerblades. I love those things. I'm going to be listening to
Ace up on rollerblades.
I'm going to be listening to the Ace of Base and rollerblading every day. As soon as I get over, and we did squats today. My legs are
There was an era where literally everybody on school, probably when I was around 12 or 13, everybody on school just came to school on rollerblades. It was a mania. Insane. Ugh.
That's
Good
in
old
crypto.
days.
It says donatage.org. I'm not sure what donatage.org is. People overprocessing, simplifying things, both physical food and metaphysical ideology, panned or plague or can tag. Nope. Network effect ad phenomena, smiley face. Yeah, Moondog can give like 8-hour sermons on this stuff when it comes to energy and health. And Torrance giving us a bunch of cool emojis. Great transition, Hex Ray, from diet to crypto. Boom. Some love for Torrance from Davis. Adams. Meanwhile, got my big payday.
Yeah, I forgot all about it. Yeah, that was when he was in. Was it in Boston? I'm not really sure. We had a meetup, and while there in the resort, unluckily I wasn't there, but he did something with some kind of game thing and accidentally took the wrong address or something, and it was all gone. Yeah, that was, and it wasn't even alone that. Back then we did YFDI as well. Do you remember that one?
YFDI? No.
YFDI? Oh, it was another staking with insane yields. And in the beginning, it did great. It went from a couple of bucks to like $1,800 or something. But it dropped down to zero. You lost a lot of that as well.
Crap. Alan Fitzima says, "Good job, Adam. Brought us a great member for our cult." So he's thanking him for bringing you to our cult. Adam gives him the bump. Serena Alonzi, man, how are you doing today?
Not a legend.
I got to episode 3 of that mockumentary, the Gillespie one,
Yeah.
where the dude's like, where he's yelling at him at that weird castle, and the guy's like, "It's H.
I only
it's
see
H,
the first one
it's
yet.
H." Okay, I'm not going to tell you more about it, but it's
so
interesting.
funny.
And there is actually some really good interviews and discussions that he has with crypto people all over the world. Vibra says Vets. Moondog's got some more. See, look at this. He's doing a full stream just in images here. It says, "What's up, Vet?" Next question: when did Face and Reality figure out the Earth is stationary? Oh goodness, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
Good to see a Face and Reality. Thoughts Child with some cool stuff. Thoughts Child's in the house. What is up, Thoughts Child?
What up? How you doing?
Thoughts
Bro? I
Child
love
goes.
Dodge.
Thoughts Child goes deep. The clips of Thoughts Child and Trap Gravity on Bradham, on Brandon's, when he brought them on and he was showing them symbols and letting them go. Torin took all the crazy moments from that and chopped it into a short. Go to Torin's YouTube and click on that one, and it is like it's your brain's melting and you're laughing at the same time, dude.
Yep.
Some love for Thought Child. This is some serious compounding with sacrifice X at the top for a new coin starting at 0, infinite gains. That's right.
Correct.
Like being pre-launch of a coin is almost always pretty amazing. If it wasn't for the wick up to 56 cents, I wouldn't have been able to sack as hard as I did for the chain. Yay, Hex.
Exactly.
And then Davis says liquid loans. He's probably referring to what he's most excited about. I'm really excited about any place that will let me take a loan. I'll over collateralize the hell out of something, but I can't take a loan on my crypto right now. I'm selling it. I'm paying insane taxes on it. And then I'm trying to invest it in stuff like real estate to balance it out and give me some cash flow for the bear markets and take the teeth out of the tax. And it is, but the rich people don't sell anything because they don't have to. They take their stock, they take their whatever their real estate, they go get a loan, a collateralized loan. They buy something that cash flows, it pays itself off, and they're literally amassing assets for free. That's why the wealthy stay insanely wealthy. Thoughchild's got some throw up going on. I don't know what he's sick about.
It is something that Famous really gets going.
Yeah,
he gets that.
He gets that and goes into that.
Yeah, he's from day one that I know and knew him. Everybody was saying, "Why would you go in real estate when you have such insane gains?"
Right.
And he said. He kept on saying, "This is something that is permanent. It's always it pays itself off. You don't have to do anything. It's passive income. It's always there, and you slowly grow your wealth." And in the beginning, I thought, "Dude, we have Hex. Look at the gains. You can't work. I've owned a business for 15 years, and I earned more in Hex than I did in the whole 15 years of my business."
Yeah. Well, but now we're going through our first 4-year cycle.
Yep.
And we're like, because when we hit 50 cents and then we were going down to 30 and 40, I thought that we were impervious. I thought that Bitcoin wouldn't drag us down to the bottom of the ocean. And I was really, really, really wrong. And this is my 3rd cycle. I should have been like, okay, we're right. But I was like, this time it's different.
Yeah, but we all got baited by the narrative that Hex would be bear market resilient because of the staking mechanism. But since only 10% was staked, we should have known that that narrative could not help. But yeah, I fell for it.
Thoughchild's giving some love. Achawa, I'm behind. One flat Earth. We're trying to get to flat Earth. I have no idea how many more. This is crazy. We all drank the Kool-Aid together to $1. LOL. Yeah, we were all like Hex to $1 on this run. Looking forward to Liquid Loans, Power City, Auto Compounder. That's in crypto. Finbear, do you have anything to do with Whatsa? Are you asking me or him? Because I love the Whatsa. Whatsa is the T-share of Hedron right now. And I'm so glad that I got that. In fact, you can't mint WhatsApp anymore. You had 14 days to mint it, but you can buy it on OpenSea or from other exchanges. So you can go buy these WhatsApps and that piece of that game of chicken that people are playing. And I believe in the future that Alex and those guys are going to find a way for you to earn yield on your WhatsApp without breaking open the pinata. So I have no actual information. I don't talk to Alice about this, but that's kind of seems where it's going. Is you're creating a black hole within a black hole within a black hole, sucking as much economic energy in there as possible, because all the people care about is the price goes up, and all you need for price to go up is more buyers and sellers, right?
Yeah.
So if you can find enough incentivizations for people to put the money in and leave it there, that's the name of the game, like in a nutshell. I clearly recall Gunther's end of year $27. Passing thought: could bad ideas be classified as respiratory disease since they spread by talking about them, being breathed in a sense, and can even take over the host in severe cases? See, Moondog makes me feel like I'm on mushrooms when I read his stuff, because he starts melting your brain there. I love that idea.
But he's
Adam.
correct though, because it's spelling for a reason. It's spell casting. You bring it into existence by speaking it out.
Mm-hmm.
And since this whole world is ruled by energy, frequency, and resonance, and speech is resonance, it's way more powerful than even we can comprehend. And that's also something that ties into Flat Earth.
All right. Well, like I said, I'm fighting to get there. I don't know how much time you have.
I got all day.
Okay. We've been going over for an hour, so we're definitely gonna be chopping this up into parts. Jiminy Christmas. Finbear, yes, everyone needs to claim their WhatsApp sooner than later. Laughy face. Yeah, not sure, but you have to stake it in anymore. I am so lazy. Why am I not reading these in his voice? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You don't have to stake it anymore. I am so lazy. Finbear, gentle kissing, stroking, perhaps a firm grab on his buttocks while whispering sweet nothings into his ear. Thothchild, I don't know what direction we're taking this stream, but I appreciate your literary talent. Costa Ladder Steaks, got to utilize it right way. Yeah, and that was another thing I did with my WhatsApps. I chopped it into a bunch of chunks. So if I had to break one pinata open, I didn't break them all open. So in a sense, you're playing chicken with yourself. Cool. So normal NFT treatment, non-functional testicles. Non-functional testicles. So cool. Normal NFT treatment. On paper. Precisely. Fetsy Crypto joking. It's closed. Once it's gone, it's gone. It's insane, LOL. Their numbers are crazy. Yeah, the WhatsApp NFTs, there's only like 1 to 3 WhatsApps a day being broke open and burned. So there's like 20, I think there's 21,000 of them. Something crazy, or 2,100. And so it's, yeah, people are like, have some very strong hands there. Not for the thoughts. NFTs. Here we go. Finbear is laughing. Sure, Thothchild too. Smaller 90-day ICOSA stakes on multiple wallets. Take advantage of the yield. The game changed. 90-day ICOSA stakes. Oh, okay, yeah. So he's saying chop up your ICOSA so you're not stuck in them for a year like I am. Okay, Moondog. Dude, I had enough trouble getting math-averse people to believe in real estate financial math. I didn't even try with crypto, especially as I had to go through my critical vetting before being able to accept. There you go. Yeah, that's true. On paper, I'm rich. Looking at liquidity, Moondogs, since money is a store of value anyways, and the tokenization of value, like time, exists as a tool in the marketplace. I just use that as a bridge when I can. I didn't keep. I read it, but I didn't wrap my head around it.
Registered it.
Yeah. Okay, I use it as a bridge when I can. Yeah. So money is a tool, and you're using it as a bridge. I like that. Vet says, get that accredited investor status from the CPA. I do. I had to get that just to go into some of our real estate, because I don't know if you guys know much about real estate, but there's something that they call a syndicate. And the syndicate is basically just a giant deal that they put a bunch of money into, and they're buying a giant property, like a huge apartment building or something like that. And for someone like me I don't like people for the most part. Like, I can't imagine dealing with like a property management company or the renters or fixing toilets or the handyman. So basically you're getting a smaller return, but you're basically kind of the bank at that point.
Yeah.
And then, there's some other stuff we can get into sometime with taxes, but that's what I do. Finbear, what at facing reality means is he spent 2 years filling his fridge with meat. Now we can afford 1 month of carnivore diet.
It's so true.
Skating is huge in the Netherlands, though, right?
Sorry?
He says skating is huge in the Netherlands, right?
Yeah,
ice skating?
Yeah.
I hate ice skating with a passion.
Oh, that's fucking epic.
Do you like it?
Yes.
Yeah, I can rollerblade, but I cannot ice skate to save my life, dude.
Even though for the newer generation, because by the time I got 12, the winter's gone away. So up until that time, we could literally skate every winter. But since the age of 12, every 5 years, if we're lucky.
I'm in trouble because I have Finbear singing "All That She Wants Is Another Baby." Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
The Ace of Base. I hope that's not when I was talking about Ace of Base, because that was a while ago. Holy cow.
Yep.
Finbear. We actually need Finbear to do a cover of all the Ace of Base songs. I would listen to that. I would buy that. Finbear. Then he evolves to next level. No food. I mean, fasting. Dude, fasting is tough. Fasting, Finbear says, fasting is the one that fits our family budget. Everyone hates it.
Funny enough, that is something that I already did. I already was on an 18 6-hour schedule. So that was, I like it, to be honest.
Moondog says he'll survive long enough to grow a few moringa trees, and then those things could keep a family fed pretty much forever. I've never tried the moringa tree, but I've heard about that in permaculture. Fasting is great. Fasting is magical. You can use liquidity. Liquidity. Just need to collateralize ETH. Yeah, I don't trust ETH. I don't want to go into ETH that big and heavy to collateralize liquidity loans, because, again, I don't want to be in ETH until I know for sure we bottomed out and we're on our next bull run. Serena Alonzi says, word. Adam, we'll find you a couple of McDonald's or CVS's with 10-year leases. 6 to 7 caps are the returns you'll see, or get some sealed graded Pokemon. So I like it how it goes from like McDonald's and CVS's, and he's like, or Pokemon, like. I love Adam, but Adam sees angles that other people don't see, and that's what makes him special. That's what I love about Adam.
I love his humor. He's so dry sometimes, and I love it.
So let me see where we're at. Holy monkey balls! I can do this. I can do this because once we get into the flat Earth, we're gonna just stick on that for a bit. All right. Moondog says resilience expectation was skewed as aspirational, but facing reality, Hex did extremely well. All things considered, looking what it did as a pup. Just wait till that pup grows up. I like that. True. Samantha, I have some non-sealed graded Pokemon cards if anyone's interested. And Thothchild, Sam, I have 438 kids.
Damn.
Moon, I have a 30K Pokemon cards. I traded an old Honda Accord for years after my son woke me up from a nap. That's we're still haven't gone through yet, but if y'all in Texas, I got space. Hexicat, negative thoughts usually lead to negative outcomes. Vets, I have some sealed Garbage Pail Kid packages. Dude, I loved the Garbage Pail Kids because My mom hated them, so we weren't allowed to we weren't supposed to look at them, which is, that's the kind of household I grew up in. And yeah, those garbage pail kids were, I see them now and I'm like, those are disgusting.
Those were the best.
Yeah. Thought Child, I have all mine from when I was a kid. Moondog also love to get some MTG or D&D groups going in Houston if anyone's interested. Houston, that might actually be where the next Hex conference is in real life. The next IRL conference might be in Houston. So that'll be interesting. Samantha, before we start the flat earth talk, we should do a poll to see what people think. That's a great idea. I don't know how to do a poll. Let me try that. I've got this up in Facebook right here. I've got that. Let me see if I can start a poll. Ask a question. All right. Do you believe?
No way. This is live.
In flat Earth. Okay, cool. And then I'm going to say yes, no, undecided. We're going to keep this. Yeah, yes, no, add an option. Yeah, undecided. All right, cool. Ask my community. So we have a poll now in the live chat for you guys to go vote on whether you believe in flat Earth or not, or if you're undecided. And so that's there.
And awesome. Let's do one.
Awesome idea, Samantha. Yeah. Look, every time I'm around Samantha, I learn new skills. Yeah, we'll do one after. That's an even better idea. So we got a lull from Serena. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. You're such a sweetheart. Bets in Crypto, like, share, subscribe. Finbear, Samantha needs to see your magic trick hex revision. I don't know what you're referring to, so we're just gonna keep going. Moondog, let me spell it out. ABC and less loony if I can. Money is a store of value. Robert Breedlove. Values are personal and relative. Wells only. Hex is the monetization of time. Descartes. I love it.
Yep.
That is really nice.
Legend. I love Wells.
Stationary Earth +1, living on a water ball, shooting through space at over 500,000 miles per hour +2. I like how you didn't put any bias into that question there. Comedy gold right here. Nobel-worthy invention. My 2 cents were free. Nuisance. Who sent? Oh, no one. I'll go back to my corner. I think he's referring to Hexagon. I'm going to keep going. What's up, Hexagon? Tin Top's in the house. Good to see you. Alan Fitzner says, "All right, boys. I'll do my awkward wave now. Peace." All right. We'll catch you on the replay. Hey, Tin Top. Facing reality on Ray's stream. How did you land this big time interview? I'll tell you what, Logan's Run. I got something for you. You got. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, how is Rags to riches? I don't want a damn wrench. I'll give it back. Listen, Rags, you're getting a wrench because you won't give me a wrench. The only one in here who gets to go wrenchless is Samantha the Angel. She doesn't have to wrench, but everyone else in here, Logan's Run, you got a wrench. Rags, you definitely got it. If I could give you 2 wrenches, I'd give you 2. Later, Elongator. Awesome stream for getting some work done. Thanks, you fellas. That's great. No way, this is live. That's a giant immobile behind you, for real. Amoeba behind you. He thinks this is an amoeba behind you. Blowed up.
Almost.
Adam's Crypto and Cardboard. The degenfessional way to invest. Yes. Commercial real estate and Pokemon cards. What gives? Rich ain't got no wrench. Yeah, Rich is. Yeah, I wrenched him, dude. I don't want a damn wrench. Shut up, Rags. Just take the wrench.
But he doesn't want anything. He doesn't want you to like. He doesn't want you to subscribe. Doesn't comment.
I tell you what, if Rags gets me a wrench in his community, I will remove it from mine. But I don't see that day happening anytime soon. Double wrench for Rags and Swords. Do you believe in Atlantis? Come on, you gotta be kidding. Smiley happy faces, garbage wrencher. Give wrench to give rags too. That's what I'm talking about. I will remove
Exactly.
myself. Don't test me. Dog. Eminem lyrics fell flatter than this convo is about to go on the earth. My 2 cents were free. A nuisance, or is he saying nuance? No, nuisance. Who sent? You sent for me? Now this looks like a job for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And say what again? Check
Back
out my
to
big blue
reality.
wrench
Hope
collection,
goes gravity.
Samantha. That is quite a pickup line. Have you seen my big blue wrench? Rags, we have a wrenching process in my community. You are the Federal Reserve of wrenches.
You can have one. You can have one.
I tell them I'm the Oprah. I'm the Oprah. This is socialism. Everyone gets a wrench. You don't even have to stand in line. So check this out. We hit the bottom of this. Let me go over to our poll. So our poll right now, I can't see it all the way. There it is. So 46 believe in flat Earth, 23 don't, and 31 are undecided. So there's the poll. We'll run it again at the end of this discussion. But let's Chimney Christmas. We've had people talk about. Well, Davis had that sweet question, and then we had Atlantis and Antarctica. Antarctica is the one that like really scratches my brain because there's no reason for that many people to hang out on a chunk of ice for scientific research. Absolutely none. And when have you ever seen all of the governments of the world just, get together on a piece of land anywhere for any reason? It just doesn't, I don't know. So
doesn't add up.
Yeah, where did you come into, or what's your origin story getting into flat Earth and studying it?
Well, I was actually a NASA fanboy, and I loved the heliocentric model. I grew up with it, and I literally knew everything about it. Wrote most of the book, or read most of the books and everything, encyclopedias. I was just really interested by it. And at some point in 2015, I got into an argument with a guy on what is in Dutch, it's tweakers. It's a kind of Reddit. And we were discussing about doing scientific experiments on the International Space Station. And we were both in an argument about, his argument was, why would you spend all that money to do something up there while you could do it here? And I was of the impression that, still believing in all that nonsense, that if you do an experiment in an environment that is not the same as here, without gravity, then you could presume that you could have a different outcome. And he refuted with, if you're so familiar with science, why do you believe in something that defies it? And he said, just look into the second law of thermodynamics. And I said to him, I know exactly what the second law of thermodynamics is, but it never clicked.
What is the second law?
The second law of thermodynamics, it's the entropy law. And it states that entropy is always looking for the highest amount of disorder, and it will be instantly seeking equilibrium. It describes how hot migrates to cold and how high pressure migrates to low pressure. So there can never be, there can't be two different forms of energy without a separation. So if you want to have two forms of energy, you need to have a separation in between. As soon as you remove that separation, it will equalize. And this is what the second law of thermodynamics states, where energy only goes one way. And this is where you need to understand that we aren't taught anything in school. The only thing you were taught when you're in 5th grade is a spinning ball, and it told you this is where you live. End of class. So you never get to logically think about everything that you need to believe. So to come back to the second law of thermodynamics, We are supposedly breathing 1 atmosphere of pressure here, the oxygen that we breathe, of 14.7 psi. But it's also supposedly adjacent to an absolute vacuum called space. The difference between the two of the 14.7 psi of pressure that we have here, going to 10 to the minus 17 torr of vacuum in space, supposedly, that is what they claim, could not exist within physics. You gotta have a physical barrier if you have two energy systems. One is high pressure, the other one is low pressure. The only way either of those can exist is within a concealed containment. And since we are made to believe that we are breathing air here and also be adjacent to an absolute vacuum, that could not exist within physics, because if physics would held true and natural law would held true, all the air that we have here breathing now would fuck off into space. Because according to the second law of thermodynamics, entropy will always increase. It will always look for a place to go to equalize. And this is an instant phenomena. And this is uh, easily seen with explosive decompression. As soon as you have something that is pressurized or vacuumed, as soon as you breach it, it's an explosion. It's instant. And this is exactly what should be happening here. If we have a pressurized system here, it could not exist adjacent to an absolute vacuum. But we are made to believe that it's actually true. And the only way modern science can even come up with this concept is because of gravity, the magical force that makes it all possible. Even though gravity in of itself has never been substantiated or could never be empirically proven. For something to be empirically provable, you need to go through the scientific method. And the scientific method states that you observe a natural phenomena. Based on that phenomena, you create your hypothesis. Within this hypothesis, you will describe your dependent variable and your undependent variable. You as a scientist now have to manipulate the undependent variable to actually show that what you stated in your thesis, by altering that variable, you will observe the observable effect, and thereby proving that what you stated within your thesis, by manipulating it and creating the effect, you now have scientifically proven that that's the case, even though it could be disproven on a later stage. Because, yes, science is somewhat evolutionary, because you could never take in all the variables into the equation. But going off from that moment, even though it's a snapshot, it can be repeatable by everybody. So until that point, we can take it as scientific fact. The problem is, we now live in a world that only exists off of theories. Even gravity is a theory. It's not even a law. It's not even described as such. It's literally described only as a theory. And within this theory, it's even described as an effect, not even the cause. So if you want to sell me on a magical force called gravity, then at least come up with a theory where it's described as the cause of something. For example, causing me to stick on a spinning ball. But within this theory, it's only described as the effect of. And then when you truly read the theory of relativity, it says that it is the effect that occurs when bending space and time. Well, space and time are both conceptual constructs and only exist for us. It doesn't exist in nature. Time does not exist. A clock exists. A measurement of time exists. Time itself does not exist. It's not tangible. It's a conceptual construct. You cannot manipulate a conceptual construct. And for something to be scientifically proven, you need to manipulate it. You cannot bend love. You cannot bend hate. You cannot bend temperature. You cannot bend length. It's a description of. It's not tangible. It's not physical. There's all these things are just theories based on hypothesis or based on pre-assumptions of what you think should happen for this theory to exist in the first place. Because the heliocentric model is literally a theory. And this is just one aspect of it. I could literally go through every aspect regarding science or physics surrounding the heliocentric model, and nothing fits.
Wow. So going, that was a lot. Like
Yeah.
that was a lot
And I can
because
explain what actually causes things to fall or rise.
okay,
What's
well,
actually going on instead of gravity.
well, going back to the beginning of this, you're in a Reddit group, right?
Yes.
And the first thing that the guy says to you is going back to the pressure, right?
Yes.
Oh no, you guys were talking about doing experiments in space versus experiments here on the
Yes.
Earth. Okay, and so he's like, no, what would make it different in space or this? And then he's like, wait a
Yeah.
minute.
Why
So he
spend all the
was,
money?
yeah, he's like, and so this guy was already obviously a flat earther.
Yes.
He already believed in flat Earth or didn't believe in the. I guess
Correct.
that's weird because flat Earth kind of puts it into a dichotomy, right?
Yeah.
Flat Earth, round Earth, black, white,
Mhm.
black, white, and it doesn't. There's not a lot of nuance in that argument.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to that idea, he obviously didn't buy into the round Earth
Nope.
narrative. So you were talking about if you have this insane vacuum in space.
Yes.
Where does that information coming from? That's NASA just saying that that's
Yep.
what the vacuum of space is.
Exactly.
And they say that there's a vacuum in space to explain that something about the Earth being a circle. Is that correct?
Yeah. Because if you're supposed to be able to live on a three-dimensional object, it needs to be free floating. You can't have a three-dimensional object sitting on something.
Right.
So it needs to exist somewhere. So they had to create a medium that could actually help this theory.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So
Okay.
it had to be floating in there.
And then he points out the second law of thermodynamics is just basically saying that when there's two of anything, entropy tries to equalize them.
Correct.
Too much heat, too much cold, too
Yes.
much pressure, not enough pressure. And where it's the greatest is where entropy tries the hardest,
Correct.
is drawn to try and equalize it the most.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay. And then after that, see, I'm trying to walk this through because I bet you a lot of people here are like, what are you talking about? Hopefully we'll get some people that haven't considered this because we do have 32% undecided that have pretty good critical minds. Being in crypto, you've got to be critical.
A good explanation of it is actually just your soda can. The reason your soda can stays fresh is because of the pressurization of carbon that is put into it.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you pop the lid, the first thing you will hear is the psh, the pressure inside of the can filling the available lower pressure around it.
Mm-hmm.
This is literally entropy observing.
Okay.
It's an energy that is captured in something and now released, and
so
it instantly wants to fill it.
So the idea of a globe without anything touching it, holding it up, supporting it, requires two very different pressures to exist.
The globe in of itself within the system can exist just because of the emptiness of space, where things can just float in it.
Mm-hmm.
And they need that medium for us to be able to even conceive of living on a three-dimensional space, on the outside of a three-dimensional shape.
Okay.
Because otherwise it was just standing on something. So for us to be able to live everywhere or to assume it as a sphere, it needs to be held in a medium that unfortunately does not exist, but That's what they make us believe, because the definition of space is just length, width, and height.
Right. We're going to get into gravity in just one second because that is very interesting to me. If the only time we've witnessed things floating is like on the surface of water, right? So you've got gravity or something pulling it down, and then you have two densities. You have the water, which is more dense than the air, and you have the object floating on the water, which is, somewhere between the two densities, correct? I guess you froze. Let's hang on to see if he comes back, because this is where I'm trying to put it together, like stuff that I can observe in my world and trying to put it into these different principles, because they're up there. Let me see. While I'm waiting for him, I'll jump into chat here. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, have you heard about our savior, Big Blue Wrench? I bet he's left and he's going to try to come back. Wow, Rax is going hard in the paint. He called you the Fed. Not even just the Fed, bad enough, but the Fed of Feds. Creature from Jekyll Island is on the Earth right now for sure, whatever the shape is. Yeah, if you guys haven't looked in the Creature from Jekyll Island, found out how the nefarious Federal Reserve was created, that's a really good read by G. Edward Griffin. I don't care what shape the Earth. How do we flip it from upside down world? Yeah, we live in an upside down world. Vets and Crypto, does NASA perform sex experiments in space? Asking for a friend. Moondog, the Kybalion by three initiates gives a better primer than I could do on a YouTube comment, but that's the literal technical answer. Execution is a whole other monster. So the Kybalion by three initiates is a good primer. Container. Yeah, Jonathan, gas pressure needs a container. True. Taught to regurgitate lies. Second law of thermodynamics is predicated on non-existing ideal contained system, and is also probabilistic, not deterministic. But few care about the details. That's where the devils be. So you're saying that the second law of thermodynamics is predicated on the non-existent ideal contained systems. Okay, so you're saying it's something that's not contained. Density, in my opinion. Time is movement in space around the sun. That's it. Just watch the space station nonsense they show the kids. The green screens fake it constantly. Also, bubbles were in the nail in the coffin. Oh, also bubbles were the nail in the coffin. It was all being done in pools underwater. Okay. Oh, okay. So you're saying look for bubbles in the space station. Okay. Davis, that was a little Rothschild. This sense-making is highly problematic, sir. We cannot abide your critical deductive reasoning. F and A plugs ears with fingers, runs, la 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 la, falls off a cliff. See? Gravity, mother ever. Oh, why do they call it Newton's law if universal gravitation? Hexacat, head into the green room. Hexacat, nah, LOL, I'm good, Davis. Moondog, conflating science with reality is an epistemological and semantical error. You guys are killing me with your vocabularies. But I got some things to do. Love and light, all. Peace. All right, here he is again. Let's bring him up. Hey, back? All right, you got to unmute. Yeah, he's still muted. Thothchild, laughing face. There we go. There we go. I was running through these very
Ah,
hard
perfect.
to pronounce words like epistemological, semantical. I did want to read this. So Moondog says the second law of thermodynamics is predicated on non-existent ideal contained systems, and is also problematic, not deterministic, but if you care about the details. So he's saying that the
Correct.
second law of thermodynamics it already assumes we're in a container, or it assumes there is no
Yes.
container.
Even though there were two scientists that said it can apply to a closed and an open system. The only reason this argument exists is because we need to pre-assume that we're on a spinning ball. If that
Mhm.
concept wasn't even there, we wouldn't even have this argument. Then everything would just be a closed system, the way all natural physics should exist. Because we are taught this at fifth grade school. The carbon cycle, the water cycle, all these cycles describe the closed system and can only exist in a closed system. So it's just a way to obfuscate again. And it's just how modern science, or how I call it pseudoscience, is duct taped on top of reality, describing something that is true to everybody, but putting pseudoscience on top of it so that everybody can endlessly speculate on how we could calculate it differently, because that's actually what they are doing. They want to live in math. They don't want to live in reality.
I
And
was
that's the
mentioning when we lost you, I was talking about the only time that we observe things floating around us is maybe a bubble of
Yep.
of soap or something on the surface of water. But I guess in the case of the surface of water, it's touching, something denser.
Hmm.
The water is denser than the air.
Yep.
So even in that case, whatever's floating on the water isn't truly floating.
Correct.
And then Adam from Viber Finance said, if you look for bubbles in the space station videos, it
Yeah.
gives away the fact that they're filming it underwater.
Correct.
That's what he's saying. That's
But
pretty interesting.
even if we, because funny enough, prior to the whole, let's say, flat Earth argument, the whole argument surrounding the second law of thermodynamics wasn't even a thing. That argument about closed system and open system, and if it's either applicable to either or the other, only existed after flat Earth. That should, in of itself, should already say enough. But even if we forget about the second law of thermodynamics and just go to pressure, it's in the word itself, pressure. The only way pressure can manifest is when it presses on something.
Mhm.
If there's no container around it to press upon, pressure could not manifest. It's that simple.
Mhm. And so you said you were going to get into gravity.
Yeah.
Is that part of pressure?
Mm. They put it in the equation, so they had to put little g in it. But you could also use mass. It's literally the same thing. But they needed gravity. They needed that pulling force that is necessary to even make the comprehension of living on the underneath or on the underside of a ball possible. Because you gotta understand
Well, yeah.
gravity.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
gravity within science is the weakest force we know. It's literally described as the weakest force we know. Yet it overcomes one of the strongest forces we know, the centrifugal force. We are supposedly spinning 1,000 miles an hour on the equator. So if you live on the equator, you're literally moving faster than the speed of sound. That centrifugal force would literally liquefy you. But yet gravity, that is described as the weakest force within science, magically holds everything together. Like a string pulling on you, on anything. And then also it needs to have a brain and know exactly what is going on. Because as soon as you start moving away from the equator, your actual angular speed decreases. And therefore, gravity needs to know, oh, wait a minute, now I need to pull a little bit less and a little bit more in relative to where you are on the supposed spinning ball. Makes no sense.
So, I guess it's kind of like when I'm in a car
Hmm.
and the car's going really
Yes.
fast.
Yes.
I'm not feeling the forces of gravity as much as if I was like my body was not in the car. And I think
Correct.
that's the way a lot of people explain spinning on the earth and not just liquefying at that
Exactly.
speed without
Yeah.
process. So what's the explanation for that? Are they just saying that
Well,
the
the only
atmosphere
reason
is
why,
holding us together?
well, that's the whole
Excuse me.
conundrum. So the explanation in of itself isn't bad, because yes, we usually only feel acceleration or deceleration. We don't really feel a constant speed, even though we could sense it. You don't really realize it because you don't think about it. The reason you don't feel it is, of course, because you're inside of the car. You're within a concealed containment where everything is in at rest. So you don't feel it. But as soon as you put your head out of the window, you'll definitely know you're going 100 miles an hour.
Mhm.
So those two should not be comparable. But yet, within the heliocentric model, they will tell you that the wind or the atmosphere is coincidentally also moving along with the spinning ball at the same rate. If that was the case, first off, winds would make no sense because wind come from every direction. So that makes no sense in the first place. But if that was the case and the earth is actually spinning around you and the atmosphere is supposedly spinning with it, why doesn't a helicopter just lift off and wait till the earth spins around it, underneath it, and just land?
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot too when it comes to flying. If the earth is spinning, then one direction should be very fast and one should be
Yeah.
slow. But wouldn't they
A
have
jet
to leave the atmosphere to do that or no? Like,
Well, that's the funny part. Nobody thinks it through. That's the funny thing about it. As soon as you start thinking it through, it constantly makes no sense. So even though we take use of the jet stream to travel, an airliner goes about 500 miles an hour. Well, if the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour, then you could only travel one direction, because going against the spin of the Earth will actually go backwards. Because the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour while you're only flying 500 miles an hour. So the only direction of travel that would make sense is with the spin, not against the spin, because you would go nowhere. Or, yeah, you can go somewhere, but in half the time or double the time. Makes
yeah,
no
it,
sense.
it doesn't make any sense. And gravity makes sense if you remember that the Carnival ride they used to call the
Hmm.
gravitron,
Yep.
where you're in that thing. It looks like a spaceship, but it spins in a circle and
Yeah,
it
I know
sticks
it.
you to the side, and like you can
Hmm.
you defy gravity because that pressure is pushing you
Exactly.
against the wall. That makes more sense if you think about the Earth being inside
Hmm.
out spinning.
Yeah,
If it is spinning, we would be on the inside of it, not on the
exactly.
outside of it. Because
Exactly.
if you're on the outside of this machine trying to hang on, you just go flying off eventually.
Exactly. And that is actually the explanation that you get in kindergarten or at basic school, when you actually know, not a lot of people do, but if there's a kid that actually asks a question, how if the teacher can actually demonstrate or describe gravity, they can never describe it. You will never get an answer. No teacher, almost at any level. Funny enough,
Well, the
but
the answer I was always given as a kid was that objects are attracted to each other,
mhm,
right? For
yeah,
some reason. So there's some
exactly.
magnetic pull that
Hmm.
pulls us to the earth and
It is
rocks
actually magnetic.
towards. So
That's so
okay. So that was the way I understood
yeah.
why
And the funny
was
part
stuck to the
about
earth.
it, that's Newtonian gravity, and that held true to 1905. And then it was superseded by the theory of relativity from Albert Einstein. So even within our modern science, Newtonian gravity it doesn't really exist anymore since it was superseded. But if you go to school now, until university level, you will be taught Newtonian gravity, even though it has never been substantiated, never been demonstrated, not on any level. Then it was superseded by the theory of relativity within books and everything since 1915, I believe. And still everybody's been taught Newtonian gravity. And as soon as you get to university level, then they go like, yeah, forget about that Newtonian shit. It's Einsteinian now, and they go into all the equations.
So
That
how does the theory of relativity try to explain gravity?
it it explains it as the effect of the bending of space and time. And the explanation or the demonstration that they give is a piece of fabric, a heavy piece in the middle, the fabric will curve to it, and then you
Yeah,
will spin. That is the explanation that they
yeah.
give to somewhat um, show you what is going on.
So basically, when there's a whirlpool, you're stuck to the side of the whirlpool, is what
Yeah.
they're saying.
And they say because of the speed that you will have, you're just in this in between point where you go just fast enough to not fly away and not to fall to the gravity. So everything needs to be perfect. And the way they describe our heliocentric model, everything needs to be perfect. Take the moon, for instance. Supposedly it is a sphere as well. Supposedly it's spinning as well. But for some cosmology coincidence, they try the moon spins just at the right speed in relation to the spin of the Earth that we will always see the same side. That would
That's
mean that,
something that's never made sense to me either.
yeah, even if it would be off by a millionth of a degree an
You'd
hour,
see it
you
over
will see
time.
it exactly. It got to be perfect. And that's also the reason why I believe in creation. Science brought me to creation. If you practice true science, you will get to creation. And that is something not a lot of people can digest because the only way you can have form and function is when it's created. You can't have a clock without somebody creating the clock. You cannot have a sandcastle without somebody building the sandcastle. We are living on a perfect timepiece, perfect, throughout recorded history. It had to be created. Who that creator was, I don't know. Could be God, could be Allah, could be aliens, could be previous civilizations, could be AI. I don't care. But I do know it's created.
So, so, so if we're not on a heliocentric
Mhm.
model, how do you explain gravity, or how do you explain us sticking to the Earth and having a
Exactly.
pull?
Yeah.
How would you? How
Well,
does
when you're
people
not
explain that?
living on a ball and
Hmm.
you're just living, let's say, on a tabletop,
Hmm.
everything is dictated by density and buoyancy. So the reason why when you jump or when you drop something, it falls, it's because the relative density of the object in relation to the density of the medium that it's in this case air, I believe the delta between the two will dictate the rate of fall. As soon as you change the medium around it, let's say water, you drop the same object in water. Now all of a sudden it doesn't drop as hard anymore. Why? You change the medium around it. The relative density between the two is now way smaller, and therefore the rate of fall is way smaller. And this is also the reason why everything falls at the same rate in an absolute vacuum, because the delta between the two is now infinite. There is no delta, it's an infinite delta because there is no medium, and therefore everything falls at the same rate.
It reminds me of like when you're in a laboratory or
Hmm.
working at a chemical plant and you're figuring out the specific gravity of a liquid.
Hmm.
And so we would take those thermometers, like a specific gravity monitor, you put it in there. And the more of this solution, which was
Yes,
denser than the water, the more you put
correct.
it in there, the more it pushed the
Hmm.
it's not a thermometer. It looks like a thermometer. It would
I
push
know
this
what you mean.
instrument out of it, and it would have the readings. So you'd
Yes,
say, okay, this solution's specific gravity is this, and so you were measuring how dense
exactly. It is the
this
density,
liquid
it's the
was.
weight. Yeah, it's the weight and mass. And they are hiding gravity or duct taping it on mass. That is literally what they're doing. And you're perfectly describing the density. So if you would take a glass of water and you will put an egg in it, it will start to sink to the bottom. Start filling that glass with salt and therefore increasing the density of the water. And
Hmm.
slowly the egg will start rising according to the density of it is. You could literally have it hanging midway if you get the relative density perfect. If you mix 10 fluids together, over time they will all separate in layers based on their relative density.
Right,
Everything
right.
is dictated by density and buoyancy.
So you're saying as long as you have a surface, we'll
Yes.
stick to the surface based on how dense we are
You
compared
don't
to our
stick to it.
surrounding.
You just you stopped by the surface.
Oh, okay. So had we been, if we become dense enough, then the surface of the earth would not support us,
Exactly.
like in quicksand. So
Exactly.
you go to quicksand, and now you're not.
Yep.
You're like the egg. You're somewhere
Yeah,
in between the air and the
exactly.
quicksand.
You can literally float an anvil in mercury because of the relative density of mercury is denser than the density of iron. Iron floats in mercury, and that is something that it's mind-boggling when you see it. But you can't because you can't comprehend that an anvil that you could not even pick up, that you need a crane for to put in a
Hmm.
bath of mercury, will actually float.
That's insane.
It is
Okay, so
insane.
that's making a lot more like, because I always think like a lot of people in the flat Earth community and in these scientific discussions will be referring to stuff that is hard to observe in your everyday life,
Yes.
and so unless I can observe it, it's hard for me to
Mhm.
subscribe to an idea if I don't experience it myself. And a lot of this stuff is like, well, if you set this up at like 100 miles and you had a strong enough whatever, then it should go.
Mhm.
It's like, I'm not doing that. I'm I, I'm re- I'm retired and I'm not doing that shit with my
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
I'm not gonna go get like
No
I'm
way.
not gonna go get a 2x4 that's 8 miles long and start doing
Yeah.
shit with it. But this, like you said, if you can turn some of this stuff into everyday things, it's like, well, and when people observe it for themselves, and obviously it's like, oh well, shit, that doesn't line up with what they're saying, right?
Yeah. And that's the hard thing. We were all raised to obey and follow. We're not raised to critical think or think at all, actually. So we were literally raised up with a belief system. Scientism is probably or current modern science is probably the biggest religion in the world because a lot of it doesn't even exist in reality. If we would test 90% of the current science that is mainstream science, accept it and reproduce it, we can't reproduce it. And they know this within science and they're somehow beveled about it. I mean, hello. They argue about it's so funny how this works. It's the compartmentalization of science and everything in general is what broke it all up because you can now influence a really small part of a bigger picture. If you wanted to, let's say, make a scientist believe something new, you had to make him believe everything new. But when you compartmentalize science and make it a specialty, you now only have to go to one person to completely change the narrative. And this is what they have done over the past decades. They compartmentalize science, make everything a specialty, even with it medication, with it in every industry they did this. It's not only science. You will see it in a carpentry, you will see it in a plumber. 40 years ago, a plumber could do literally everything surrounding plumbing. Now we have a specialist that's only for AFEC. We have a specialist that's only for CV. We have a specialist for uh, water treatment, and none of them can do the other part. It's
Now,
insane.
is it possible that that's just because it's more efficient for one person to specialize when it comes to
Maybe.
when it comes to building a house, for instance?
Hmm.
You know, because you can train one guy to just frame, do the
Yeah.
framing, and
Yeah.
not do anything else, and he eventually gets fast at that one aspect.
Yeah. The only thing that I saw from my experience
Mhm.
is that the only thing they did was make people more compliant.
Mm.
Because how do I explain this? It's hard to. We'll get back to this one. I'm
Okay.
gonna try to get a
Okay.
way to explain this so
Okay.
it would make sense.
Now, and here's a question or a problem. My issue with the flat Earth is I think that there's enough cool stuff out that I can order probably a bunch of stuff off of Amazon
Mm.
and put together, if not like a personalized rocket to get me up high enough, because
Yep.
I know a guy was doing that. A guy was actually
Yep.
shooting himself up as high as he could, trying to take a picture, and so that he would experience it for himself. And I thought, oh,
Mm.
that's brilliant. I think he hurt himself pretty bad, but he wants to do it again, right?
Yeah, he's not even a flat earther, funny enough. That was just a mainstream narrative that was created around it. It was
Okay,
actually a flat earther that sponsored.
that
He
said,
just
I'll
wanted
pay
to
for
go
it.
in a rocket. He didn't care about flat earth whatsoever. It's just that a flat
Hmm.
earther sponsored him, and the whole media took it to
Hmm.
make fun of flat earth again, of course. So
Yeah. So
that's
I
how
would
they
like
work.
to think that there's a private group or an individual out there that has the ability to either send himself up or send a camera up high enough to get actual pictures and retrieve it. Is
Yeah,
that
we've done it for almost 10 years, but nobody or sees it or accepts it. And that's
is,
the problem. We had a guy within our community, his name was Dwayne Callum, and he did this as an hobby, and he pretty much put up a balloon every 3 months. And the highest I believe we got was 130,000 feet.
what was
And
his
on
name? Dwayne?
Dwayne Callum,
How do you spell Cullum? K
uh,
or C?
KAELLUM,
K.
or is it? Let me check.
I'm sure you'll find it if you Google that name
Yeah.
and balloon. So he was doing weather balloons.
Yes. And I think he did it for about 5, 6 years, maybe.
And did he
And
just put like a camera on the bottom
yes,
with a
yeah,
timer
and
that
all the
took
equipment.
pictures?
Yeah, parachute, data recording, temperature, moisture, multiple cameras, different angles, and every time trying to get higher. No curvature whatsoever. We went higher as most of NASA claimed footage,
So
about
wait,
40,000, about
how high?
40,000 miles.
How high
Because
did he?
most
Do you think he got?
the highest was 130,000 feet thereabouts. And the most of the things that we get from NASA is or 90,000 feet, 110,000 feet. So we went higher than they even claimed to go. And on their footage, it's an oversaturated ball. And you could actually see within the footage that as soon as the camera pans, it becomes convex and then spherical. It's because of the fisheye lens. But if you use just a regular camera, that doesn't have a fisheye lens, it's as level as can be. But the fact that we see our horizon on eye level can only occur if it's an infinite plane. So if you look into the distance, the only way that your perceived horizon is in the middle of your frame, or at least not at the bottom of your frame. So the horizon will always meet eye level, no matter where you look. Could be a skyscraper, could be on a sea level. The fact that it does that can only occur if it's an infinite level plane. Because as soon as it will be curving away from you, your horizon should always drop, especially when you go up. So as soon as you are in a plane, if you want to see the horizon, you could never do that by just looking out of the window. You actually have to look down because the curve is curving away from you in an insane rate. And if you're traveling in a plane with 500 miles an hour, I believe you should be dropping on average 6,200 feet a minute to keep tracking the curve of the Earth. That would mean
what
it's
is the
over a mile a minute if you
what
travel 500 miles an hour.
what is the supposed curve of the Earth?
The radius is 3959 with a circumference of, I believe, 22 or 24,000 miles with an average deviation, accepted deviation of 8 inches per mile squared.
8 inches per mile?
8 inches per mile squared. So that is 6 inches on 1 mile, 6 feet on 10 mile, 660 feet at 100 miles, and 66,000 feet at 1,000 miles.
That's kind of
Because
weird.
it's expansion engine. Sorry?
I was going to say, I was a truck driver, right?
Mhm.
And when you drive, it has a grade. So if you're going down a hill, it'll say 8% grade, 10% grade.
Mhm.
And that's how many inches it falls for every 1,000 feet.
Yes.
And so if you were going down something with a 7% grade, you had to like really slow down and make sure that you didn't lose your brakes and die.
Exactly.
And they're saying it's 8 inches per mile squared.
Squared, yeah.
So how many feet are in a mile?
6,000 or something. What is it? 50?
This is where we should go back down to chat because someone is going to be crunching these numbers because math is really hard. I'm just skipping this whole thing down to the bottom. If you guys know the math of 8
It's
inches per mile
5280.
squared, 5280.
Yep.
So 5280, and then mile squared. Does that mean mile times a mile?
Yeah, it's exponential. So
it'd be 5280
times
times
itself.
5280.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
So you multiply it times itself over and over again.
5280 times 5280. And that equals 27,878,400 feet.
Yeah.
So
because the formula creates a parabola.
Yeah.
That's how fast it goes. It's an infinite parabola, let's say.
Right. And so if we did this by thousands, then that would actually equal 8,000 inches.
If you give me a number
for that many feet,
I can give it for every distance that you want.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was just saying 8,000 inches per those mile times mile feet.
Mm-hmm.
So that would put that, if you're, like I said, if you're driving a truck and you're going down a hill or you're on a curve, that would be that number divided by 8,000. I don't think that's. Oh, I got to do it. Sorry, I got to do it the other way. Let me clear out. So it'd be 8,000 divided by 27,878,400
Yeah, but that
equals.
goes in
Yeah.
that calculation. You will create a straight line.
Mhm. No, it's going down. So basically, if you had like a 1%, 2%, 3%
Hmm.
grade on a hill that you're driving down, that would equal. I'm putting it here in the comments. It'd be 0.40, and
Let's
then
say that the way you're
286.
describing it, it's a linear. So it's an angle that you go from your 0 point, and depending on the distance you are, it's a linear bigger the further you go. But on a sphere, it's exponential because you're constantly curving.
So that would put it at 4.0286% grade.
Hmm.
If in trucker speak, right? And I might be
Yeah.
off. I might be off 1 or 2 decimal spots,
But
but
then you got to do this one constantly
yeah,
because you now have an
yeah.
average over a
So
feet,
every
probably.
1,000 feet, you're dropping that much
Oh,
of an
yeah.
inch, is what it's saying. And you would definitely, I would think you would definitely see that over miles,
Yeah.
because a 7% grade or an 11% grade on a hill is insanely steep. Like this is like when you're going up and down mountains and up and down canyons. They'll tell
Yeah.
you that percentage grade is 3 to 7, 11 is crazy. So Mobius says it's yeah. Thanks, Mobius. Mobius says how many feet there are in a mile.
Yeah.
Good. Okay,
And
so
that's also something that I like to address is the misconception that modern science has with math. They are under the impression that math can prove things. And since we can put it on paper, it therefore has to exist. But math does not prove anything. Math is a description of, it's a universal language used to describe things. And because we can do it at an accurate level, we can actually model and predict things. But you can never prove something with math. If I tell you I got 2 unicorns in my backyard and my neighbor got 2 unicorns in his backyard, do we now have 4 unicorns? Do
it,
unicorns now exist?
no, not
Exactly.
based on you guys just saying that.
Exactly. But this is what they believe in math. As soon as they can put it on paper and the math adds up, it must be true. Even though, because what people don't realize is that the only difference between math and calculus is the fact that we can actually name everything within calculus. And when people say, yeah, but math isn't calculus. Oh, really? Can you do math without calculus? Could you do math for me without dividing, subtracting, multiplying? You can't. Math is calculus. The only difference is that we use physical things that we write down in a formula. That's the only difference. But somehow everybody now thinks that because we can do that and make it add up, it's therefore real, even though we just pre-assume everything that we.
Right, and so maybe Mobius, sorry, says supposedly you have to be 3,000 miles away to see the entire Earth, like to be able to see the whole thing. And I times that by the feet, and that would be 15,840,000 feet.
That would only, and even that statement cannot be true because our vision is 360. So we literally have 360 view. So the end of your view is not a straight line. It's one tangent point, and everything from that point is equal distant to you. So you literally see within a circle. You can't see the farther axis in your peripheral vision. It's literally a circle around you. It's called perspective.
Crazy. XCat says at the shore looking to the ocean, the horizon is approximately 3.1 miles with no refraction.
Yes.
Yeah, it didn't invent crypto, and I like him too.
But that is when you're about 5'10", 5'11", or let me think. Yeah, because it's dependent on your eye level. I think it was 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That will be your perceived horizon. So as soon as you go up in elevation, it's 1.225 of the square root of your elevation, and this will give you your observable horizon.
So I didn't quite understand that. To be honest.
Funny enough,
Jonathan does say there's tons of high altitude balloon footage. So where do you see Dwayne Cullum's pictures
on YouTube,
footage?
you could also look at the problem is it's so highly censored that as soon as you want to look something up regarding this topic, the only thing the feed will give you is the rebuttals of everything. The morons that never come with evidence, all they do is make fun of everybody and telling them how stupid they are because they don't believe in their belief system that has no evidence and that they don't even have any knowledge about. Because if we're intellectually honest to yourself, how much do you know about the heliocentric model? Nobody knows the circumference. Nobody knows the diameter. Nobody knows the radius. Nobody knows the distance to the sun. Nobody knows the distance to the moon. Nobody knows anything. The only thing you were taught, this is the ball that you live on, and these are the planets in between that we can observe within our reality. And then everybody needs to memorize all these things until you know them by the top of your dome. End of class. Because if they would actually tell you that the sun is 93 million miles away, 93 million miles away, it hangs there like you can grab it, but it's 93 million miles away. The inverse square law would dictate that you could never see the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Could you see a headlight forever?
No, not necessarily. No.
No.
Eventually, there'd be enough particles
Exactly.
that blocked the light, the protons that it was shooting. I'm guessing to where
Yeah, protons
you
are
really wouldn't,
already,
or something in there that's absorbing that energy.
yeah.
Before it
It's
would
the
get to
medium
me.
in between, yeah. And the inverse square law describes how over the distance, the light is actually dispersed over a bigger area, but decreases tremendously in intensity. So for every doubling of the distance, you only get 25% of the intensity, but you 16 times the square footage that it observes or occupies.
Yeah.
And then over distance, you just don't see it anymore. It's not powerful enough to penetrate to the medium. And depending on the medium, it will dictate how far you could see, but you could never see anything indefinitely.
Right. HOA is saying he's still waiting for the Bob Marley part. He's the guy who's promised Bob Marley. Yeah, Hexicat, who is a proponent of the, it sounds like he subscribes to the globe model, to the heliocentric model. He's on a walk, but if we could get him in here, that'd be great too. Him, and then we got Jawa, and
Jawa
Adam
legend.
from Vibra Finance. It's a wild rabbit hole.
People need to understand that flat earthers that didn't just woke up one morning and thought, you know what? Let me fuck up the whole world lose all my friends, lose all my family, be ostracized by everybody, and tell everybody, you know what, the earth is flat. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's something that interests you because you're intellectually honest against yourself. And being honest against yourself, saying to yourself, I actually don't know. I just was told that this is the case. And then as soon as you go to Google and you type in Earth curve, the first thing they will display you is how you can actually physically measure the curvature of the Earth in children's terms. And as soon as you do so, you become a flat earther. But nobody does because it's
Well,
just a belief system.
why would you? What if you like calculated the Earth's
Yeah,
surface? What does it come up with?
because we still experience a drop of 8 inches per mile squared. Well,
Mhm.
over 10 miles, that is already 66 feet. And over 100 miles, it's 666 feet. 100 miles is easily observable through a camera.
Mhm.
How can
So,
we
so,
see everything?
so you're saying if that curvature is true,
Hmm.
then you would stop. You would see a horizon and stuff would
Yeah,
just drop off. You would just see the end.
a lighthouse would not work on a sphere because most lighthouses are about 200, 250 feet tall, depending on where they stand on. Some are even lower.
Hmm.
But they are recordedly being observed from 40 miles, 50 miles, even 60 miles. Well, if you put those numbers in the calculation, the lighthouse should be hidden about 4, 5, 600 feet below the earth, and yet we can observe it. How does that work?
Well,
They will tell you, yeah,
yeah, I was going to say that light bends, right?
yeah,
Because you've poured water and you've shot like a
mhm,
little light into the water and
refraction, yeah,
you've seen the light turn, and I
correct.
guess
The
there's
problem with that
moisture and
is,
air, right?
yeah, yeah, the
And so
problem with that
there'd
is,
be some curvature.
yes, the problem with refraction, and in
Hmm.
this case, it's terrestrial refraction, what they want to refer to, because there are actually a lot of kinds of refraction. You have terrestrial refraction, you have what's it called? Stretching, looming, miraging. There are so many types of refraction. I believe there are 15, but 7 are really known or discussed. Even if you would take refraction into consideration, for you to do so, you have to have as much measurements as you can have. So between you and the observable object, you want to know as much data points in between of temperature, pressure, and moisture, because these three things actually dictates of refraction. But refraction doesn't go in one way. It's omnidirectional depending on what it needs to migrate through. So, where people think that refraction will actually cause something to always curve, that is not the case. It could literally go as a wave, depending on everything that is in between.
And it could curve away from the
Yeah,
Earth as
it
well
can
as
go
towards the
up,
Earth.
it can go left, can right, can go down.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, I was just trying to do the math and thinking how far is because I'm always wanting to observe and
Mhm.
experience something for myself. And
Yes.
Adam says, Hexicast says 10 out of 10 dentists jump off the Golden Gate Bridge, obey the law of gravity, trust the science, trust the science. Oh, real one or IRA. Jay Good says, patented phrase. And then Samantha's talking about buoyancy density, still
Yep.
by Tyson. Yes, bubbles in space. NASA has a space station in a pool in Texas, lots of bubbles. And Viber says, Hexley, did you know Einstein married his cousin and was
Oh,
a serial molester? Now, I
correct.
did know that both Einstein and Hitler and Darwin were
Yep.
all into their cousins.
Another
Uh,
theory that we take for fact.
and Jawa says, make sure you tell them about the three body problem.
I'm not really. That's something that Austin should be explaining. because that's a mind fuck for me as well.
I feel like we need Jawa and Hexicat on here. He says you're on a plane going Mach 5. Do you feel it?
Yes, depending on where you go through. But that's the same explanation again. The only reason you don't feel it because you don't experience the outside atmosphere. If you would be on the outside of that plane, trust me, you would know.
Finver says my mind is like a knob being blown after the sauna. Yeah, Samantha got sick from the gravitron as a kid. Yeah, a lot of people did.
Yeah.
Jonathan called. There are two theories of gravity.
Yep.
Student, can you show us? Teacher, give that little shit Ritalin so he calms down.
And it's true.
Finver, exchange of imaginary photons is a method now suggests for the mechanics of how gravity affects. Exchange of imaginary
protons have
photons.
but protons have been disproven within science about 6 years ago, and still everybody runs with it.
I
They
thought that
couldn't
a
even.
photon was a charged particle. Is that
That's
what
what
a
they
photon
wanted
is,
to.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's actually just. It has to do with. It's hard for me to explain because it goes pretty much over my head. But if you want to know more about it, look into Ken Wheeler. He has really good explanations of it, how it really works. But a photon is not. It's the same thing with the double split experiment. It's so funny that it's so easy for people to believe that shit because you literally have to believe that it's doing something different when you're not looking.
Okay.
So the double split experiment will tell you when you observe it, it will create one pattern. And as soon as you don't observe it, it will create a scattered pattern.
Right.
How would you know if you can't observe it?
Well, I think that it's I kind of understand the double split experiment because if we are energy, right, and our attention to things is energy, then that should change or affect the outcome of something involving energy, right? Like your presence and where you're directing your mental energy could affect something just because you are changing. Observing something and not observing is a variable.
Yes,
right?
But stating that something happens when you don't observe it, how do you know that something happens when you don't observe it? Are you now just pre-assuming them? Because that's literally what they're doing. They're saying, yeah, when you're not looking, it's doing that. But as soon as you start looking, it's doing another thing. How
But
can you know?
couldn't you remove the human being from that equation? Have a camera? Because so they just put a camera or something up?
It's the same thing then. Because they tell you, as soon as you observe, it does this. But if you don't observe, it does something else.
Right.
How can you record it, observe it, if you're not recording or observing it?
Well, I guess I would say there's a different energy between the camera and a human being. So if a camera is present and a human being's present, it's going to change the situation. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're standing next to the camera, you're still observing it. If you leave a camera in a room and you're not in there, you've changed the equation. Just by removing a human being.
That's the case. The way that I understood it, it's like when I look in my backyard, there's no unicorn. But when I don't look, there's a unicorn. But as soon as I start looking, it's gone again.
Yeah, I that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm just throwing out like possibilities.
Yeah.
Crypto PD says, sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't do this. David says, God is good. HOA says, I'm waiting for the Bob Marley part. Let's go over the Bob Marley part. So there's a lot of lyrics and music that on their surface seem like just nonsense or they seem to rhyme. But then you listen to them and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Like I brought up a punk song from Operation Ivy back in the day. It's All I Know Is That I Don't Know. And that's talking about the more you learn and the more you discover and the more you open your mind to possibilities, the less you start thinking that you know stuff. It's like the opposite of the Dunning-Kruger effect, right?
Yeah.
The Dunning-Kruger effect says the less someone knows, the more sure they are about themselves and their beliefs. And the more they learn, the less sure they are about, they're like, oh, wait, maybe I don't know everything.
Exactly. And that's the funny part about flat earthers. Everybody ostracizes flat earth, but we are actually the one that know the science. The people that have no understanding of it whatsoever want to argue with you, make fun of you, not even realizing, never ever for 1 second thought anything through, because all the things that we just discussed, it's probably the first time that people actually think about it logically. Nobody does that anymore. But as soon as you start doing it, you will figure out, wait a minute, I actually don't know anything. I don't know nothing.
Mhm.
And that's a beautiful position to come from. And this is, most flat earthers that I know are extremely humble because we acknowledge that we don't know. And that's
Right.
also the beauty of it, because we were all raised with the conception that everything is already figured out. All you need to do is memorize this book and trust me that everything that's within it is actually true. You don't have to think about it. You just got to memorize it
Yeah, and repeat it.
and repeat it, but
Yeah.
never think it through. And we are actually freed in that sense because now we're allowed to think again. We're allowed to explore again.
Yeah. And
We
what
don't know
now?
everything.
And you were talking about the Bob Marley lyrics
Yeah.
that kind of like resonated with you,
Yes.
and that was
Redemption song.
the Redemption song.
Yeah.
And so the Redemption song, repeat some of those lyrics for us.
It says, none but themselves can free our mind. Free yourself from mental slavery. None but themselves can free our mind. How long will they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look?
Yeah, and so he's basically saying, look, you really can't trust or depend on anyone else but yourself to determine your own beliefs and the world around you. The other thing I've realized is the more I open my mind and realize there's a lot of stuff I don't know at all, the more I put weight into experiences that I've gone through, like personal experiences that science really doesn't have an answer for.
Nope.
And
I would like to answer Hexicat's question.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a question that comes up a lot with people. What does it matter? What would it change if the Earth was actually flat? And this of itself already shows how deep this goes. Because we don't even realize how much of our current accepted science is based off the heliocentric model. Because if the heliocentric model falls, evolution falls, germ theory falls, viruses falls, and this list goes on, because it's all based off the heliocentric model and the concept of gravity. Even protons and electrons and nuclei and all those things are based off the heliocentric model, where you have a center and something orbiting it, even though nobody has ever seen an atom or has ever been able to show an atom. The only thing they can show you is a screen with lines and dots on it. Yeah, that's an atom. See that line there? That's an atom. That's an atom traveling. That's the only thing they can do. So if we're actually honest, we don't know.
And now we've got a whole bunch of Bob Marley lyrics in here.
Yeah. And the
Old
other hand
pirates,
is
yes,
that
they rob.
yeah, exactly.
Soul died to the merchant ship.
Yep.
So really, the point of this is it all kind of comes down to control, right?
Yes.
Because I clipped a lot of rabbit holes and a lot of conspiracy theorists and a lot of contrarians
Yeah.
who I relate to. They're usually in a very negative headspace. where they get together and they complain, well, they, you know, they do this in our schools, they do this to our food, they do this to our water, blah, 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 blah. And I always jump in there and my comment is always solutions, question
Mm-hmm.
mark. Like, okay,
Exactly.
so we know that they're messing up our food system. We know that they're manipulating our energy and our money.
Weather and
What's the solution? Like what how do we switch this energy to positive energy?
well, my idea was I would start for myself, and I already planned it out. I want to be completely self-sufficient because this is literally the only way to become ungovernable. Because the only reason we were governable is because we are dependent. If we would not be dependent on their food or their grocery shops or their energy or literally everything, the last three years would not have happened. Because the only reason those things happened is because they could take something away from you. You don't want to take the shot? You're not going to go on holiday. You don't want to take the shot? Don't gonna get your groceries.
You're gonna get fired.
You're gonna get fired. You're gonna lose your job.
That's a huge threat to people.
Exactly. And I've talked to a lot of people today, actually, to one, and nobody gave the answer. When I asked them, why did you take the shot? Nobody said for my health. Nobody. They all said, yeah, I would otherwise lose my job. I couldn't go on holiday. So why did you do it? Did you do it for your health, on what it was sold for? Or did you do it because you wanted your freedom back that you should have had in the first place?
Yeah, I think it really, wow. So it's almost like deeper than a paradigm, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because a paradigm is just simply a like a belief system or something like that. This is going one step further, and
I agree
pardon
with you, Hexycat, by the way.
pardon the pun, but facing reality,
Yeah.
right? Like facing, is that where you got
Yeah.
your name from? You're like,
Yeah.
hey, if you face reality, if you honestly are
Yep.
so facing reality is another way of saying being intellectually honest with yourself.
Yes. I had to face reality every day because we all are taught a belief system. And every time we come to find out that it's not true. And especially the stereotypical nonsense that is being taught in society and in school, like how you should think about a different part of the world or even within your own country. And then you go to that part of that country and it's not even close to what they told you. Every day we need to face reality. We are told one thing and accept it and don't even look. But if you truly start experiencing things and face reality, you got to update your worldview. We need to start trusting our instincts again. We need to start trusting our senses again. And this is also a big part of the heliocentric model because everything your eyes are seeing is level. Yet you're supposed to believe that somewhere out there, there's a curve. Your senses will tell you that you're motionless. You don't move, you're completely still. But you're supposed to believe and accept that you're spinning on the outside of a ball while traveling 1,000 miles an hour. It's detaching you from your natural senses. And as soon as your brain can't trust your senses anymore, you're controllable. You have no free will. They can make you believe anything. Within the heliocentric model, you are nothing. You are a pick of dust in the emptiness of space. A piece of rock out of the sky is your cousin. That's what they want to make you believe because you were made for space dust. But as soon as you accept, in this case, level Earth, and we are geocentric, now all of a sudden you are the center of the universe. Now all of a sudden everything revolves around you. Now you're special.
Now
That's
you
something they
matter.
can't have. Yeah. They want you to be insignificant. You need to be cattle. You need to be let, you need to obey, you need to follow.
Mm-hmm.
You're not
Mhm.
supposed to feel special.
Wow, that's insane, because that was like my little message. If I could put out 3 messages to the world, number one is, like you said, what you do matters. So you
Yeah.
matter, and what you do matters. The
Yep.
second one is you deserve what you want. So you're worthy of what you want, because a lot of people don't feel worthy
Yep.
of what they want. And then the last thing is to get ready, meaning not only do you deserve what you want, but the way to experience that you are worthy of what you want is to start working towards that goal. Whether it's writing up a plan or taking the first tiny baby steps towards that goal, it does something magical in your subconscious, in the world, with
Yep.
God, with the universe, whatever you want to call it. And things start lining up for you to reach that goal.
Yeah. I want to. There are a lot of flat earthers in Mexico. A lot, way more than people think, and there's a reason for it. They always say Hex is an IQ test, and it actually is, because it's not something that you can accept just on face value and looking over it. You need critical thinking to actually understand Hex. Flat earthers are critical thinkers. They are used to dissect everything. And we're also accustomed to gatekeeping. We know everything about gatekeeping. We know everything about censorship. And when most flat earthers come to the realization that Hex was censored and gatekept, we know all about that and why that is. Because as soon as you are a threat to them, this is what happens. This was a big selling point for a lot of flat earthers to just jump on just the fact that, oh, it's censored? Oh, let's go. Here you go. If it's censored, yeah, the government doesn't want you to have it. Let's go. It's something that prior to Richard Hart, everybody thought they knew crypto. Everybody thought that they understood what was really going on and how markets worked and how everything worked. After Richard Hart, everybody updated their worldview, but it didn't go easily. This is the same thing. It takes time. You need to digest. You need to think it through. And at some point, common sense will hit in and something in your brain flips. It's something that I hear from a lot of truth seekers. As soon as that moment occurs, you start thinking completely differently in a way that you start trusting your own sense again, because gut feeling is a real thing. The same thing we experience a lot when we are a kid or when we're younger, where you come rushing to an intersection and something inside you tells you to stop. You don't know why, but you do. And a lorry comes roaring by. This is no coincidence. We are all connected with our universe. It's just that we lost this technology or this capability majorly to the things that they do when we are born, all the vaccinations, the thing that they give us while we eat, formula feeding, all that nonsense, all that synthetic bullshit, all the plastics that they wrap everything on. It's people have no idea how I almost want to say how satanic these ruling class is.
Well, I mean, you know, the saying, "Don't hate the player, hate the game."
Mhm.
A lot of the ways that they take advantage of people are from what seems to be like hardwired, like survival skills, our what's the word I'm looking for? Our instincts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a time when eating as much calories as you could get your hands on was probably a good idea, because maybe we didn't have a Walmart, we didn't have all the calories we have now, right?
Nope.
Um, trying to fit in and mate with someone of the opposite sex, or even the same sex, I don't know. Like at some point that was like that propagated our species. Obviously this one's
Yeah.
opposite sex, but there's certain things, and also fitting in the tribe might have meant the difference between you living and dying.
Yeah.
Right. And so
It's
they take these kind of like hardwired buttons, and they just hit them over and over in ways to kind of corral us and
Correct.
control us. And so in one way, I would say if there's a creator, why would he put so many people in a place so easy to manipulate? And so
Nice.
and so few of us have that strange ability to think outside the box, see a different angle, or just simply be skeptical. Because most people don't seem very skeptical.
No.
They seem very distracted, right?
Yes. Short attention span. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's just like, it's kind of like when people talk about the Constitution. People love the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution. It's like, well,
You don't even upheld it.
The problem with the Constitution is that A, it either enabled us to be where we are now, or B, it wasn't strong enough of a document or a piece of paper to stop us from getting to where we are now. So these people that freak out about constitutions and laws, it's like, if you look at the reality of the situation, then you're going to be like, oh, maybe maybe the Constitution is a great idea, but maybe it's not enough to keep us from, getting taken advantage of by sociopaths, psychopaths, and the ruling class.
That's why Hexaco is so appealing, because that could literally be the ticket out. And I want to believe that if we are in the position to start the way Hexaco, or at least start building that way, people will migrate to it, even though they might not be hexagons. They always say money goes there where it's treated best. People are exactly the same. When people will experience a place where they can live, let's say, within peace and thrive, people will automatically migrate there. And it doesn't have to say that there's no monetary system, or there's no jobs, or no money. No, of course, it's a proven concept that works. The only problem with the monetary system is that they first off gave it away to a private entity. That makes no sense. And then have it not being backed by anything doesn't work either.
Well, while you were gone,
the biggest thing is taxes.
Yeah, which is a mental slavery.
Yeah.
Because money's not real and tax isn't real, but it affects all of our lives as though it is real. And Hexicat was talking about the Creature from Jekyll Island, that book that talks about how they kind of pulled off that Federal Reserve thing by basically like, so just what's the word, by conspiracy, by conspiring as a group of people. And then there's a lot of evidence to suggest that the Titanic was actually sunk with a bunch of the opposition to the Federal Reserve on it.
Yep.
So like the Federal Reserve had been defeated several times.
Yep. Over and over.
And they just kept saying, okay, well, what do we have to do? Who's in the way? Boom, kill them, get rid of them, don't invite them to the party. And they voted it in on, I want to say it was like Christmas Eve or Christmas night. It was some strange night that you would never show up to Congress or the Senate and had this vote. Like, it's so, everything about it is so damn shady that you're like, this is insane. Dude, we're hitting 3 hours, and Jawa says, next time you do one of these, let me be your Jamie to your Joe Rogan. I'll pull up the infographics and memes that's pertinent. That is great. I was not ready for the information and the debate, and I love having debates, not so much because of the drama or the conflict, but really because then you get to see like things go back and forth. You get to like really sit back and question yourself. Okay, what actually makes sense to me? What doesn't make sense to me? And
I also want to hook into the question that Hexicat had about religion. And we need to understand that probably our whole history is false. Or not probably, it is. But it's a hard pill for people to swallow. So everything that you were taught about history, you could literally go throw overboard. It's literally just a fairy tale like Superman and Dora the Explorer. It makes no sense. But since we are living on a realm that is completely controlled, what is the best thing to control people? It's to divide and conquer. And they do this literally in every level. So I don't want to say any or either religion is true or false. Just think of the possibility that religion, all of them, were created just to divide. Because most of the religions all agree upon one thing, and that is creation. And how can you hide creation if you have 5 or 6 or 20 different religions arguing about who is actually the creator? And now we live in a society where all the religion, all they did was argue, and now they're almost non existent. It's divide and conquer. And it could be that all of them are true, or all of them are based off of a true story, or that one is for 50%. It could be any other. Let's just agree upon that we are created. We are the result of somebody that created us and created that what we live on. And that would make you special. And that's all that should matter.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I did have one question that seems to get in the way of everyone creating Hexaco. And shout out to Samantha. This is a wonderful idea. Thank you so much. So glad I gave you the idea to do it. Laughing face.
Yep. I'm happy too, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. But my question is, every time we get, because I was in the anarchist group back in the Bitcoin days, right? We found Bitcoin and we're like, it's going to save us from this. Well, because when you wake up to the fact that there is a ruling class that's manipulating everything, the first thought is, okay, well, let's escape. Like, even if nobody comes with me, I want to live free.
Exactly.
And so we loved Bitcoin. We thought Bitcoin was going to save us from the banks and governments. Spoiler alert. It's not.
Didn't happen.
It didn't happen. But the anarchist community is always looking for a place, a physical place on Earth where they can be left alone. And no matter what they do, like the last time there was a couple that made like a dinghy. It was like a flotation device. I forget what the name of it is, but basically it was a home that floated on the sea, because a lot of people have tried seasteading to get away from governments and be left alone. And they sent maritime law. Yeah, they were there for a year or something like that. And Indonesia or some nearby country, like army, attacked this one little flotation place where 2 or 3 people were living. And it was because of cryptocurrency that they were even able to afford this experiment of living at sea and building these floating little, I wish I remember the name of it and the people, but yeah, they were chased out by a military. So that tells you 3 people trying to spread the idea of freedom was so dangerous, they sent a country's military after them.
Yep.
What?
What? Exactly. And I guess go to Antarctica. You will be met by force.
Yeah, well, and I see people say all the time, "Oh, I can go to Antarctica. I can fly over it. I've done it." And you see video of people flying around somewhere in Antarctica. I don't know.
It's one spot, yeah.
Yeah, but my question is, as Hexicans, like I said, if I buy some land down in Texas and call it Hexaco, it's immediately going to be a hit. Like, people are immediately going to be saying, I want to visit. Even if I can't live in Hexaco and move there, my next vacation, my family's next vacation is to this, 20, 30, 40 acres in Texas. Perfect. Like, I'm going to go there. And I think it's a really, really good idea for a business. If any Hexicans want a business idea, go in and buying that and turning it into a tourist destination where people can bring RVs or camp or rent, tiny houses and cabins, and then you could charge them in crypto. especially during a bear market. Like if you put this together between the 24-25 spike and the 28-29 spike, and you are like having people spend their crypto in the bear market to come visit, and you are DCAing, like that's an insanely good idea.
Yeah.
I'm too lazy to do it, but I wouldn't mind, maybe being part of something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
But we could literally create a city.
Yeah, and
Because
go ahead.
because most Mexicans dream about Lambos, yachts, helicopters, and all that kind of stuff. But if you have a group of Mexicans that are completely financially free, they don't really have to make a profit. But a business always does. So what if you just create the possibility, get outside people in your city to work for you? It will generate revenue, but you don't need it. The revenue can go to the complete city, go into investment, go to in good salaries for the people that actually do the work for you. If you take away somewhat the middleman, the one that actually wants to make profit of it, what is 90% of the revenue, majorly, and you put that back into the system, it's self-sustaining. You could literally live within a city that has the best restaurants, the best butchers, the best everything, because you created it yourself. You get the people in there. You can give them fair money because you don't have any profit that needs to come from or to you. You could have put it all back to in Mexico, and it would run itself. You just have to live there.
Yeah, that'd be an awesome place to try and solve the Oracle problem too, and
Yeah.
just put all sorts of crazy stuff on the blockchain and see what sinks or swims. I want to say hi to a wild SJ. It says sign me up, Hex bus on the way, beep beep. And we've also got Rick Davis in the chat. I gave up on reading chat because
Brisology.
this is insane, dude. What's that? You got what's Brisology doing now?
The last one.
I mainly love flat Earth because it makes Globers freak out at the education they got in public elementary schools. Totally, and really,
And it's
honestly,
so true.
well, and the thing that I find the most that really attracted me to flat earthers was the fact that as soon as you start to question anything that people take as fact and believe, they get so upset.
Yeah.
They get emotionally upset at you. You get attacked just for asking a question, even an honest question.
Mhm.
You're
I
not
have
even
an
telling
explanation
people
for it as well.
what's that.
Why that happens. I know why that happens.
Go for it.
Because our brain is really complex and it develops in stages. And the first 7 years are really important because there is where your core belief is created and your core sense. Everything that in the first 7 years is really important for your orientation, for knowing how things smells, how things taste, all those kind of things. They are all stored in a different part of your brain. This part of your brain is also partly responsible for fight and flight. So as soon as somebody starts to nibble at your core belief, your subconscious takes over and it can only know one action or one or two actions. It's either start fighting or put your fingers in your ear and go la 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 la, or they're running. And this is why you get these adverse reactions because you start nibbling at somebody's core belief, even though it's not even knowing. It's the same thing as I'm now going to tell you. Red is actually green. I would never win that argument. I could never convince you that red is actually green.
Unless between the ages of 0 or 7, I was taught that, because I've studied that quite a bit. Was your brain is in dream mode, like the same brain that you have while you're dreaming is basically the kind of way your brain's operating 0 to 7, and so you literally can't tell fact from fiction.
Correct.
In those ages. That's why they believe in the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, and everything is so
your response.
Yeah, your
everything.
response is
Yeah.
but once that's covered and closed, it's
Hmm.
almost impossible to get back to your
Correct.
subconscious without the use of either plant medicines or 2 decades of intense psychotherapy. Like, I don't know anyone who has 20 years to talk to a psychotherapist. And sometimes I take that back. Some of the stuff like Tony Robbins and some of these seminars, they get you so off whack with your sleep schedule and your eating, and they put you in all these strange situations that go against the Jiminy Christmas, the instincts that we were talking about before. Like, they make you do stuff that is not in line with fitting in.
Yeah, they're gonna put you in an uncomfortable position, and then
Yeah. Well,
go from there.
they're basically taking the drugs inside of you
Hmm.
at these places and mixing them up. So whether you are on an actual like plant medicine drug trip or whether you go to a seminar that changes your life, either way, it's hormones and drugs inside of your body that are really getting you closer to those core beliefs and core
Yeah.
insecurities, which is kind of interesting. But I said that to say, and I really want to go back. Where's this other one here? Samantha says her Hex Flex is going to be a badass lawnmower with a cover and a cup holder that I get to use on my multiple acres of land with no neighbors.
Hell yeah,
I
I'm with you on that one.
love that. I love that.
Uh,
So I was going to say, if we have enough of these, basically
Notes.
private cities and private like nodes, hex
Yeah.
code nodes, physical hex code nodes, if we place those in enough places around the world, we can get to a level of freedom that a lot of these other communities that are trying
Correct.
to achieve freedom can't.
Yeah,
I
we
still don't
already
have an
see.
answer to actually just completely ignoring the government or society. Like,
No,
it's difficult.
it's pretty much impossible to do it overday. It's the same thing. Yeah, I'm gonna quit smoking tomorrow. Yeah, right.
Mhm.
That doesn't work.
Are you addicted to the nicotine in tobacco? Is it
No.
tobacco you're talking about or cannabis?
For me, it's cannabis. Yeah.
Now, and do you consider that an addiction or do you
Yes.
consider that just basically medicine or both?
I mean, it is a medicine in multiple ways, but if you're honest to yourself, it's an addiction.
Mhm.
If you can't quit for more than 3 weeks, it's an addiction. Well, I can't quit for more than 3 weeks. I can't even quit for more than 3 hours, I think. So, yeah, I'm honest with myself. It's an addiction, but it's the one thing that I'm willing to do
Mhm.
because there's not um, that much of a negative health risk. Because even though a lot of people think that smoking is actually bad for you, everybody in my surrounding that smoked went way older than everybody that didn't smoke. All my grandparents, all my grandmas, his grandfather smoked at the age of 107. From the age of 8, nothing happened. All this dying young shit started from
Mhm.
people that were born after the 60s and 70s or after the 50s.
Hmm.
Those are the ones that started to die younger.
Mhm.
Everything before that, dude, man, everybody got old as fuck.
Well, and going back to so you have a dependence on cannabis,
Yeah.
and we all have. Mine is sugar. Like, if I don't eat any sugar for a week, it's like that week is
Yeah,
hell.
that's that
It's
craving.
literally
Yeah.
like my body feels. It's like heroin. Like,
Yeah.
I read like I've read heroin withdrawals, and it's sounds just like sugar for me. Like, it's
Yep.
literally like very, very difficult. I have to like spend all my time and energy not physically touching sugar to make it through that week.
Yeah.
So I heard that, and the question is, where does that come from? Like, what is that? And sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's mental. But the interesting part is finding the roots of that thing.
Good
I don't
point.
know. Like,
Yeah, it's probably chemicals within your brain that are released when undergoing certain things, and then as soon as you don't get them anymore,
Yeah.
it's thinking, it's probably just the body panicking and
Yeah.
trying to save you, the same as when you're sick.
Dopamine and
Yeah.
cortisol are some
Yeah.
powerful
Oh boy.
hormones, man. Shoot, too many Christmas. I could literally spend days doing this. I'm gonna have to. I definitely want to do
We'll do a
some
recheck.
traveling this next year. I've got.
Oh yeah.
Things are going to be kind of crazy. I'm trying to launch my own project this year,
Mhm.
and that's going to determine what I need to do and where I need to be. But I've got a really good team. I'm really excited about it, and hopefully, we can use all of these skills and all of these passions
Mhm.
to be a positive change for the people that come into contact with us. And the other weird thing I've noticed about crypto is that it's the woo-woo thing is certain people that you try, like friends and siblings and people close to you, you'll like kill yourself trying to onboard them, trying to get them to see this whole thing. You'll buy them crypto, you'll stake hex
Yeah.
for them, and it still is just like, oh, that's cool. It's like you don't get it. Like this is life
I know.
transforming wealth, and some people don't actually care about life transforming
No,
wealth. I can't
completely.
relate to because I'm such a freedom freak. I'm a freedom maxi, right? Like I want to be
For
free,
sure.
whatever that means, whether it's emotional, physical, financial.
What free means for you. Yeah.
Yeah, but the people that are meant to find you, the people that are meant to find hex, the people that are meant to find parent like completely interesting ideas like flat Earth, it's strange how you meet them.
Yeah.
It's sometimes this comes out of the woodwork,
Synchronicities.
synchronicity, and yeah, definitely. We've got someone here in Arabic, hand waving pink. She says,
Has
"Hello, all. Good to see you. Maybe an AI, maybe a person. If they show up again, I'm definitely going to wrench them. But I probably have already wrenched some AI bots." It says, and Hexicat says, "Flat Earth is always a fun talk." I'll say that, and that's really what it's about for me. Is like,
Yeah.
how many times you get to work that part of your brain of critical thinking and questioning, and like,
Yeah.
really comparing one thing with another. I absolutely
Yeah.
love that.
It's
Now,
it's unfortunate that it's been regular. They literally weaponize the word. It's insane.
mhm.
And they've been doing it from your childhood and usually through satire and comedy. And it's sad that it brings up this emotion with people, because the things that we endure, it makes no sense. People literally make death threats. People literally called my company. Luckily, I owned my own company, so they could fuck off. But they were literally calling up businesses to get fired. They called up schools to get the kids taken away from their parents because they thought they were lunatic.
And this is
Even
over
though,
flat Earth.
yeah, it's
Oh my
insane. You have no
gosh!
idea how bad it was, especially in the beginning. It's insane because they needed to do every trick in the book to get this under the rug. But
Mhm,
you can't walk away from truth. That's not
mhm.
how it works.
Right. But the one poll closed, and I accidentally clicked on no to get it to show up. So it was more lean, 61% no, 6% yes, 11% undecided when I closed that one, and I just opened another one. So if you are one of the 20 people still chilling out, 24 people, and you guys want to jump on that poll on Facebook, we'll have people vote again, and we'll see what it is. But um, that's pretty interesting. And that's what I say. It's all about a discussion. Like, can we agree to disagree? Can we discuss things? Because people, like you said, they're so emotionally tied
Yeah,
to their beliefs and stances. And 90% of the time, they don't even know why they believe what they believe, and they don't know
correct.
why they have those emotions when they're challenged.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
they
interesting.
already have this complete thought that as soon as they hear the word flat, they think you're stupid. And as soon as you then actually start talking, and usually with most of the flat earthers now, it's within a couple of minutes, they start realizing, wait a minute, these guys actually got the answers to everything. And they never even thought about it. If we if the if there was any proof, like literally any proof of the heliocentric model, we would not exist. But the only thing that we do is keep bringing on proof after proof after proof. Even within our own physics and science, it could not exist. And then as soon as you start putting high altitude balloons out there that shows it completely level, we put out laser measurements over 40 miles demonstrating that it's completely level. People just ignore it. They come up with the most radical things, and usually they only have two answers. It's either gravity or refraction, but I can't explain you what either of those is. So if you want to evoke either of one, please explain to me how it should work, because gravity has never been substantiated or proven in any means by any experiment. Rotation of the Earth has never been measured by any experiment ever. It doesn't exist. And the only thing that we deliver is empirical proof and empirical evidence that has been done over and over and over again, showing that it's a level plane that is stationary. So we are actually doing the ones that are doing the real science and the real experiments and actually know what we're talking about. And then you have these supposed knowers that are actually just keyboard warriors and clowns that believe in something that somebody sometimes told them when they were 5 years old.
Yeah.
It's insane. And
Well,
we are getting rid. Yeah.
I remember back in the day, they proved this is when Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto was coming out. They traced almost all of the moderators in Twitter back to an Air Force base in Nebraska. You were like, wait, the government's actually running these free thinking social media platforms? Yeah. Who else has the time, money, and incentive to steer the conversation? And a lot of it was about money and crypto. And Samantha says that's exactly what I was typing out, Hexray. Yeah, about saying like it's great to learn how to talk and respect each other and grow. And then Jonathan Kampala says the majority of the world wore a mask, took a vaccine too. Doesn't make it right. So
especially now when all the evidence starting to come out and mainstream is taken over and the actual truth is coming out. It's funny how the so-called conspiracy theorists have been right for the past 20 years, over and over and over again, and still we are radicalized. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that really threw me was the moon landing that they're referring to here in comments is like, why haven't we been back?
Yeah.
That's a very simple question that people are like, well, we went there. Well, it's expensive, but we inflate our money supply, so everything is actually free.
Yeah, $65 million a day.
Yeah. Tinfoil hacking. Hashtag by Samantha. Well, dude, all right. So I'm gonna have to download this video onto my computer and split it up because I've been using the video AI to try and do more short clips so we can reach more people. Shout out to Furu Finance for running that into the community. Hex will go viral when all we do is play the game that the advertisers play, which is TikTok, YouTube Shorts, 10-second clips that get people's attention, right? So yeah, we'll be doing that, but I'm definitely gonna have to split this down because over 3 hours it won't let you feed it.
Oh boy,
into the program. So I'll cut it up, but there's so many good spots here to talk about and share to at least get people's attention. I like that, and yeah, this is awesome. So free on the backs of the slaves. Yeah. Everything is free because I never thought about the fact that time isn't tangible.
Yeah.
Time is something we experience, but we don't experience the same at all times. Sometimes it goes by fast, sometimes it's slow, and not all species and forms of life on this earth have the same kind of cycle and time life. So that's something I'm going to be ruminating on for a while. But we got to do this again. We got to do this with more organization than I came with. And someone like Jawa, like throwing up
perfect for this.
Someone to be throwing up some information, and I'll be thinking about a lot of this stuff. But I really thank you guys for showing up and the marathon of a 3-hour stream. You guys are insane. I love you. Yeah. Great conversation. Yeah, have a great night. Later, Face Reality. Love this so much. Looking forward to part 2.
Thank you, Samantha. I love you.
And Swizzle says, wear tinfoil hats next time.
That's a good one. I mean, I'm all about satire and self-mockery. Oh, it's all good.
It's one of the only ways. Humor is one of the best ways to make people think. And memes are now more powerful than CNN and Fox News. Like, you can throw out a meme that will get someone to think or get their attention about a subject that is just as powerful as the mainstream media. Are you serious about more people in this chat believe in flat Earth? Oh, wait, let me check. I got to check my later poll. My other poll, it's actually changing as before our eyes, but it's now 54% yes, 46% no. So I honestly think, now it's 50-50. So people are literally just hitting the button to mess with it right now.
If you're truly honest, you got to tell yourself that everything is a belief. Because what do you actually know? I could believe that it's flat, and you are believing that it's a sphere because you actually don't know. The only thing that you ever saw was a cartoon movie. Well, if that is evidence for reality, then Superman is real, Dora the Explorer is real. So just be honest.
Yeah, and that's really is the best we can try for, is to be honest with ourselves and each other. Yeah. But yeah, you guys are great. You wanna go out on a awkward wave goodbye? That's my favorite. We're gonna throw on some night driving here.
Let's go.
In StreamYard, and give everyone an awkward wave goodbye. You can even do anti-gravity wave goodbye, where it's like
I got no hand.
Your hand is gone. Your hand is a figment of your imagination.
It's time traveling.
And join us in Anti-Gravity, the Anti-Gravity Saga Telegram, where we're writing a story with AI. We're coming up with art, and that's going to be surrounding the token that I want to put together. And I want to get as many people's attention and get them into crypto as we can. So let's do this, man. Appreciate it. And
have a good one, everybody.
Take care. Have a great night. Face Reality. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, man. I had a blast. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And we got all these guys in the chat. Great stream. Jawa making a new account. Boom. You guys are awesome. Later, Visionaries. Stop on by. Help us with our crypto scavenger hunt too. Get on there, subscribe to the Hexicans, help support, build this community in the bear, punch a bear in the throat.
Exactly.
Catch you guys later.
And look for Suzanne.
Yeah, and go get some stuff from Suzanne. We'll catch you guys later.